We haven't been nasty enough, so I think they have gotten orders to come out and play Raider football, and right now the Chargers are the beneficiaries of it. Look at this walk-off.
Nasty football is not dumb football, and Sean Jones, Howie Long can take care of himself against anybody. Howie Long got in a little shoving match with Gary Kowalski, which is going to go on for 4 quarters. That's a senseless 15-yard penalty.
The Raiders somewhat desperate at this point, 3 games behind in their division. Here is a handoff to Lionel James. Small as he is, he takes on the big Raider hitters coming in from linebacker positions and advances the ball down to the 25-yard line of Los Angeles. The scoreboard, the final starting to come in. Kansas City defeats Buffalo on a late field goal after the Chiefs trailed 17-10 late in the 4th quarter. The Giants have now come from behind over New Orleans. The Giants trailed 17-0.
Don, it appears to me San Diego being a little more conservative, even though they're a high-tech offense. Those 8 interceptions the last 2 games. Bouts throwing very, very high percentage passes.
Going to the end zone. Man is open, but he cannot make the connection with Wes Chandler, who had a step on the defense. Sam Seal was defending, but not very well, as with 9:51 to play in the 1st quarter, the Chargers almost connect on a scoring throw.
Yeah, now even though that throw is way down the field to Wes Chandler, that too is a high percentage pass. You could see single coverage. Sam Seal on Wes Chandler, ball just slightly overthrown by Dan Fouts. There's Gary Anderson on the sideline. He's suffering from a hip horner. We understand he can play, but he warmed up rather gingerly.
Chargers have lost 7 straight away games. On a draw, they go to Lionel James, and he's still working, and all the way down to the 15-yard line where markers come in. If the play goes, the Chargers will have a 1st down.
Van McElroy on the tackle. This kid is 5'6", standing on his tiptoes maybe. Look at the speed. That's a face mask penalty. It's going to be on Sean Jones again.
Look at this mark-off.
Grabbing the face mask. 5-yard penalty, number 99, defense. 1st down.
Welcome to the Los Angeles Coliseum. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. The Chargers are moving on their 1st possession. We'd like to welcome those of you who've been watching Kansas City in its victory over Buffalo 20-17. As you see, it's scoreless here at the Coliseum. This is the Chargers' 1st possession. Coach Coryell has to be pleased, though, with about 4 penalty calls in this drive against the Raiders. 2 personal fouls, tacked down 30 at one point. Pitch back. Lionel James breaks it at the 10, and he's down to the 8-yard line. Got about 2 or 3. Stacy Turan, the strong safety, number 30 for the Raiders, knocked him down. The Raiders, Trump, have not lost back-to-back games at home in 8 years. They were beaten here by the Giants a week ago, 14-9.
Well, with Marcus Allen standing on the bench, he accounts for about 46% of their offense, receiving and rushing. He's also the guy that the Chargers, just before game time, still didn't believe he was going to be hurt and not available for duty today.
Gary Anderson goes in motion for San Diego. Fouts is looking for him. Now he fires, and Charlie Joyner loses it at the goal line. A high wobbly pass on 2nd down and 8 from the 9-yard line of the Raiders. No score, 8:45 to go, 1st quarter.
He's trying to get those yards. Already got the most catches of anybody in the history of the NFL. The pressure squarely on the shoulders of this Raider defense today. The offense, I don't think, Don, can generate an awful lot of sustained drives. So the defense has got to come up with a big turnover to save points from the board. So far, Chargers driven it right down the field here at 1st possession.
All season long, the 1st quarter has been the Chargers' most productive. Then they tailed off right down. Here's an end zone throw, and Kellen Winslow comes down with a Charger touchdown. 9 yards and a touchdown for the Chargers as Kellen Winslow, with his 11th reception of the year, gets his 1st touchdown.
Stacy Turan was the guy in coverage to see the double tight ends, and Winslow gets lost behind the zone. Now Fouts does an excellent job of avoiding the rush, and finally Barnes gets back there to try to get in his face, but he just got lost. How can you lose a guy who was 6'5", 250 in the end zone?
Came in high, but Winslow went up, and he was indeed wide open. Somehow he did get lost as the extra point is up and goes it wide. Now they wave it off. Ralph Benerska's extra point attempt is no good. And so, with 8:38 to play in the first quarter, the Chargers go down the field, beneficiaries of a number of penalties against the Raiders. Kellen Winslow on the payoff end of a Dan Fouts throw, but as you see, Benershka's extra point try is wide and no good.
As you said, 20 yards came from Sean Jones. And again on the touchdown, watch Fouts. You can see everybody up there at the line of scrimmage. Townsend and Turan both rushing. Fouts, not known as a mobile quarterback, able to avoid the rush. At the other end of the pass, a very tall, stretched out Winslow for 6 points.
So the Chargers, as they do so often on their opening drive, a thing of beauty right down the field. But as you noticed, if you're with us in the start, the Raiders helped out a lot with some personal foul calls. And now the Raiders are set to get the ball for a second time. Benershka ready to kick it off. Stephon Adams is back deep for Los Angeles. And Fulton Walker's back with him. The Raiders have not scored a touchdown now in total elapsed time that equals 10 quarters. Since midway in the third quarter against the Denver Broncos in the opening game. That was their last touchdown. Fulton Walker on a short kickoff will bring it out across the 35-yard line, and the ex-Dolphin takes it to the 38. So again, Wilson gets good field position to start his offensive drive. But last time, you remember, it was 3 downs and out for the Raiders.
Here's the big I think one of the big keys. What are the Raiders going to do? Try to get it to those wide receivers? Those 9 catches for 240 yards shows me that all they're doing is catching it going straight up the field. They're not catching it sideways. And of course, last week, Art Monk and Gary Clark just ate up the defensive cornerbacks of the Chargers. To this point, Raiders have not thrown out there. So look, you see him bump and run too.
Mark Wilson looking long on first down. Now he goes to Todd Christensen, who falls ahead to the 45-yard line for a gain of 7 yards on the play. Thomas Benson, a linebacker, picked him up. Christensen, Trump, has had great success against the San Diego defense. In 7 games, he's caught 49 passes against them for over about 800 yards.
This kid's averaged 84 catches a season for the last 3 seasons. And he's the receiver, I think, that San Diego must hold up at the line of scrimmage. Let's see those cornerbacks if they come up on the wide receivers again. Yeah, they're doing it. Now they're dropping off this side.
Second down, a long 7 now. Here's Mueller, the rookie, running hard and close to the first down. He has it to midfield. Vance Mueller, a 6-foot, 210-pound, 4th-round draft choice from nearby Occidental College. Replacing the injured Marcus Allen, is out with a sprained ankle. Gets the first down.
Raiders' first down. Looked like they caught the Chargers in what was going to be a blitz, but a good job at the point of attack by just shoving back the San Diego Chargers. I read in the paper this morning that Occidental yesterday beat Laverne. I think they play Shirley for homecoming in a couple of weeks.
That's not like playing the Chargers.
No, it's not.
Mark Wilson on 1st and 10, looking long. Barksdale goes for it. The play's broken up nicely. Coming in was Donald Brown, the rookie cornerback from Maryland, who's replacing the injured Danny Walters, who, as the Charger fans know, is out for the year after rupturing Achilles tendon against the Giants.
I see once again they get the ball down the field to Barksdale, bottom of the screen. Barksdale has great speed, fakes the out, but the cornerback's not biting on it. All these Raider receivers seem to do is go straight up the field. In order to make that move legitimate, they got to throw the out first. They got to throw the in first at 12 or 15 yards. Then you can go by the cornerback.
One of the Giant linebackers, Trump, Harry Carson, said after last week's game that the Raiders were very predictable. They show you what they're going to do, then dare you to stop it. The Giants did. The Raiders have not gone without touchdowns in back-to-back games since their last losing season. That was '81 when they went 7-9.
Vance Mueller there on a carry. You can see the guys replacing Marcus Allen, just how much they've been used so far this season. And this kid was, to say the least, breathless before the game. I mean, starting for the Los Angeles Raiders.
Coach Tom Flores, I spent time with him yesterday at the Raider practice, and he said one thing we have to remember. He said, we're 0-3, but we're still a good football team. We could easily be 3-0. So there's nothing wrong with the work ethic. We just haven't been making the plays that we used to make. Here is a throw to Christensen, a big play, and Todd Christensen is down inside the 30 for a 19-yard gain to the 26-yard line. So the Raiders, without a touchdown for almost 10 quarters, trying to get in now as they're down close.
Jeffrey Dale's the man in coverage 37. You see him trying to scrape the defensive backs off the offensive receivers. Now, the sin there is allowing Christensen a free release off the line of scrimmage. If you turn him loose in the defensive backfield, he'll catch 15 passes. He's already got 3 catches so far in the first quarter.
Don Coryell, his defense under fire, having problems stopping any offense. Here's the pitch back now to Mueller. Turning wide, Mueller is caught on a good defensive play. Leslie O'Neal, the #1 draft choice of the Chargers out of Oklahoma State, ran down Mueller. Washington extends its record to 4-0. Seattle, it loses its first game. The Chicago Bears with Jim McMahon back at quarterback blasting Cincinnati. The Rams coming back, but it looks like too little too late at Philadelphia. Pittsburgh with a 3-point lead on Houston. Other 4 o'clock games now underway. Denver's gone in front of New England 3-0. Tampa Bay's done the same over favored Atlanta. Right now we have second down and about 13 for the Raiders. They trail 6-0. First quarter. Free ball intercepted in the end zone. No markers down that we see, so the Chargers stop the drive. Mark Wilson hears a chorus of boos, and the Chargers get back the ball on the interception by Gil Byrd.
That's Wilson's 4th interception, intended for Barksdale.
It really hung, didn't it?
Well, the other thing is they hauled up Christensen at the line of scrimmage. He's got nobody else to go to but the guy downfield. They've run nothing intermediate. The San Diego defensive backs are standing back there waiting for this long pass. I mean, he could have fair caught that one. First and 10 now at the 20.
Tell you guys, been a big force in this game so far is the rookie Leslie O'Neal. He's had pressure on Wilson virtually every time he's gone to throw. Chargers starting from their 20, leading 6-0. Fouts looks, lets her go, and it's incomplete. Slipping, losing his footing was Eric Seaver, the 6th-year tight end from Maryland. Matt Millen putting the pressure on.
He got Fouts down. Fouts did a heck of a job to get that pass off. And I think the Raiders don't have much choice here. This is not a team that relies on the blitz a lot, but you'll see Matt Millen at the last second, right at the thighs of Dan Fouts. He still throws it. They're pretty much forced into that position to blitz, try to get the big turnover so the offense doesn't have to drive 80 yards.
Raider defense will be going for the ball now. Second down and 10. Fouts in a pass alignment. Wings it out beautifully to Lionel James, but Raiders are there to get him. Raider defense in position as the strong safety Stacy Turan came over and knocked him down on a 2nd and 10 play after a gain of about 4 yards.
San Diego, with all their offensive weapons too, must start spreading it around. Winslow's caught one. The rest of it's been Lionel James. Of course, we've got Tim Spencer with a bad knee. Gary Anderson with that hip pointer, which is very, very painful. So you don't have a lot of healthy people there for the San Diego Chargers.
The last time a Charger team beat a Raider team in the Coliseum, believe it or not, was 1960, the first year of the American Football League, when the Los Angeles Chargers beat the Oakland Raiders. Throw on the flat off the hands of Kellen Winslow. You remember the last time they put a ball in his direction, it was good for a Charger touchdown, but now the Chargers have to punt the ball to Los Angeles, and the Raiders could get good field position.
On this game of professional football is a game of adjustments. See what the guy's going to do today. Make your adjustments defensively to accommodate that. And I think once the Raiders realize that they're not going to see a lot of Gary Anderson, James is going to start getting a lot of coverage. And so far, the Raiders have shown the Chargers nothing offensively that they have to worry about defensively.
Bolton Walker ready to return. Ralph Moshenka ready to punt the ball for San Diego. Hits it from his 15 and hits it well. The ex-Michigan State player drives it back to the 28-yard line. Here comes Walker. Special teams play is good. Coming down to make the play was Eric Severs, a 47-yard punt, a 7-yard return, and now we have a moment with the Chargers leading 6-0. Here's Bob Costas in New York. Thank you, Bob. We have 4:56 to play here at the Los Angeles Coliseum. Raiders have the ball for a 3rd time. Hand off to Vance Mueller. And we remind you again, if you joined us late, that Mueller is the young player that called down to start in place of injured Marcus Allen, who's missing only his 2nd game as a Raider in 5 years. Mark Wilson coming off a shoulder separation that kept him out for a week. Couldn't throw at all 2 weeks ago. Threw all week long and well in the Raider practices, but his last throw before This drive was the interception in the end zone. It stopped the Raider drive. Jesse Hester, who's been dropping some balls, is on the left flank, lower portion of your screen. Noki Williams at the top. Wilson looking to go long, but he's not going to go anywhere but down. Earl Wilson came through, a 280-pound defensive end from Kentucky. The second sack of Wilson by the Chargers.
And Don, if you look down the field, the Raider receivers, the wide receivers were just running deep routes. If there's nothing to establish the fact that you're going to throw the ball underneath, intermediate to the wide receivers, those cornerbacks are going to lay off, and Wilson's got nobody to throw to except Todd Christensen. Eventually, San Diego's going to pick up on that. Wilson's going to have nobody to throw to.
Raider offense just not a going Jesse right now, as they have dropped back to a 3rd down and 14 play. Mueller's run, loss on the play, and now here is Wilson looking deep. Gets it to Mueller, and the Chargers level it after a gain of about 5 yards, but way short of a first down on a 3rd down play. Thomas Benson, an inside backer, made the strike.
To this point, here's the story of the game. Watch the defense. No threat for the intermediate patterns by the wide receivers. Cornerbacks dropping off, and there's 2 guys back there to cover every receiver. And Wilson has to find an outlet receiver. Mueller makes the catch, but not near enough for a first down. That guy's second punt of the first quarter.
His first one was 56 yards, and there was no return. Lionel James is back again. Chargers lead 6-0. Their extra point was no good after a Fouts to Winslow touchdown throw from 9 yards out. Their first possession.
Bad punt by Ray Guy. Very uncharacteristic.
So Dan Fouts and the Charger offense comes out for another try at it after just a 25-yard punt by Ray Guy. Got a lot of miles in that leg trump. 14th year.
Still the only guy ever drafted in the NFL as a punter in the first round. But been worth it.
Yes, he has.
That's the defense's best player right there, your punter. Keep your opponent backed up.
Chargers from their 39. Here is Train James, stopped by Howie Long. What a size overmatch that is. 275 to about 180. If Train weighs that.
Be an interesting conversation between those two. Wouldn't you think? Long out of Villanova, and Train James, an engineer, graduated from Auburn. They could talk about some things, couldn't they?
Not a lot of conversation that you want to have on the air. I don't think
true.
Right now.
This is true.
Not a loving relationship, the Chargers and the Raiders. 2nd down and 10 now as Fouts takes a look. Raiders giving him the rush up the middle. That's been the book, trying to slow down Dan Fouts, take away his sight lines by running at him up the middle, and that time Bill Piquel put the rush on.
2 weeks ago, Fouts got hit in the forearm against the New York Giants, and it's bothered him ever so slightly. Apparently he can't grip the ball tightly, and you're right. As opposed to trying to go outside and keep Fouts in the pocket, defenses try to push the pocket back into Dan Fouts so that he can't really follow through on the pass.
Rick Smith of the San Diego front office said Fouts may be playing hurt, but if he is, the only one that knows it is Fouts. He won't talk about it to anybody.
Gutty player.
Long ball. No flag. An incomplete pass down at the 30. They were looking at Wes Chandler. Good coverage by the Raider corners.
Holohan and Chandler were very close, but you can see the pressure they're putting on this San Diego offense. You see Martin from the outside. The guard just gets out there to make contact with him, or the center, Masick, just to avoid the sack. But the Raiders can put pressure on the quarterback. 65 sacks last year.
Sean Jones is something. 6'7", 285. In his 3rd year now. And here's Moshenko ready to punt it again to number 41, Fulton Walker. Well hit ball. Left foot spiral downfield, and Walker goes from his 10. Standout special teams play. A 51-yard punt, a 6-yard return. Raiders get the ball again, but deep in their own end when we come back to the Coliseum. At the Coliseum, the Los Angeles Raiders have not scored a touchdown in almost 10 quarters when they had Marcus Allen. He's out today. Where's their offense going to be?
I still think they got to find it from their wide receivers. Those 9 catches they've had so far in the first 3 games, not enough in the right direction. You've got to establish that you'll throw the ball in the intermediate distance over the middle to keep those defensive backs up at the line of scrimmage, Don. Then you can try to go deep. So far, the Raiders have just tried to throw it way deeper, get it somehow to Christensen, and it's not working yet.
Vance Mueller having trouble moving the ball. Going straight ahead, he is out to about the 20-yard line. Bring up 2nd down and long. Look at fire drill up here. We got some cords crossed. You all right, Trump?
I'm fine.
Don't hurt yourself.
I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the elevator as opposed to the football field. We'll take care of it. We'll take care of it.
The hour set to go. 2nd down and 8. Wilson been intercepted once today. Wide open receiver, and Doki Williams. A big play for the Raiders, going high and keeping the feet in when he comes down. 11 yards, 1st down, Los Angeles.
That's exactly what the Raiders have to do. Wilson's got to have confidence that those wide receivers are going to run good patterns. He gets protection. Ball thrown out there, even though high, it's there for Williams to catch it. Now there's the threat that they'll throw the intermediate patterns. That'll have a direct effect on the cornerbacks of the Chargers.
The Chargers' shortcoming in the recent years has been cornerbacks who've not been able to cover one-on-one, and their defense is gambling more this year, which puts more pressure on the cornerbacks. Here's a drop ball by Vance Mueller. On a 1st and 10 play. Tom Flores yesterday, Trump lamenting the fact that out of 61 receptions his team had through the first 3 weeks, only 9 went to wide receivers, and he said just isn't our offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Historically, they've gone to the outside. You see Billy Ray Smith doing a pretty decent job of putting pressure on the quarterback. I'm not sure the Chargers consider that a blitz when Billy Ray comes. Former big defensive end for the Arkansas Razorbacks.
A lot more gambling now under Dave Lynn, the newest San Diego defensive coordinator. Open man is Mike Hawkins, and he blasts out to a gain of about 16 yards, and yet another 1st down for the Raiders. So they start to move the ball.
Jeffrey Dale on the tackle. The San Diego defensive coaches commented to me that the one problem they have, this defense is so darn young that at times they just go to sleep out there. They miss an assignment, they miss a defensive call, and Ron Lynn has tried to make it simpler, but the only thing that's going to make this young defense better is just time out there in the pits together. Then they won't make those big mistakes.
Ticking down now the closing seconds, as you see, of the 1st quarter. And the Raiders now going to the 10th quarter without a touchdown. 10th consecutive quarter. They trail 6-0. Chargers scored first possession.
Too much time.
9-yard touchdown throw, Fouts to Winslow.
Too much time. You could see Hawkins and Mueller there. It looked like Wilson changing the
Delay of
play.
game, number 6, offense, 1st down.
He audibled at the line of scrimmage. Running backs were very slow to move, and it cost them 5 yards.
How do you replace the most valuable player on the Raider roster? Not only that, he was the most valuable player in the National Football League last year. Marcus Allen. The Raiders have to find a way today. Marcus Allen sidelined with an ankle injury. Street close. Here's an open man. An open field for Doki Williams. And the sprinter from UCLA takes it inside the 25-yard line. They'll spot him out of bounds at the 26-yard line. A 34-yard gain.
Don, he ran that on Wayne Davis. He went down the field, faked inside, went back outside. Wilson hit him for a big pickup.
And we'll be back after this.
And I think
He
we're
was
right
out of
here.
bounds at the 26-yard line. They've made a 5-yard mistake in where they've spotted the ball. We didn't see
You're
any
right.
penalty.
No, it's at the 20 and should be at the 26.
They were the 21. It should have been the 26-yard line. So the Raiders are beneficiary of a 5-yard miss mark by the official. Here's Vance Mueller trying to go outside. And good defensive play and a ball on the field, and the Chargers have it. Fred Robinson, who put the pressure on Mark Wilson earlier, now comes up with a fumble recovery. So the Raiders without a touchdown in 10 quarters. Won't get one in this early drive in the second quarter.
I'll tell you, that's another problem the Raiders have had this year. That's their 7th fumble and the 6th one they've lost. So Chargers back on offense. Raiders drive it between the 30s. Nothing left.
San Diego continues to lead 6-0 at Los Angeles.
It is an automotive advance whose time has come. The Mercedes-Benz Supplemental Restraint System, SRS. In a severe frontal impact, a driver's side airbag and emergency tensioning retractors in both front seat belts supplement 3-point seatbelt restraint. All in a fraction of a second. SRS, only from Mercedes-Benz. And now standard equipment on every Mercedes-Benz for 1986.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Not everyone got a vacation this summer.
Great Gregory!
I need a vacation like nobody's business. I need a vacation.
This fall, you can still get great low fares to more places on the biggest bargain airline, United.
I got a vacation.
Give me another shot at it.
And I'm not just flying, I'm flying the friendly sky.
Nice soft landing.
Ramada wants to know what makes John Madden mad.
Try to get some special treatment in a hotel. You show them your gold card, your silver card, every precious metal card in the book, and they still treat you like a nobody. But don't get mad. Just get yourself a free Ramada business card. One little red card, get your preferred room rate, express check-in and check-out, and more. With treatment like that, why carry anything else? Yeah. Next time, Ramada.
Call 1-800-2-RAMADA.
Anything good? Today's game is brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. The more you look, the more you like Mazda value. By United Airlines, you're not just flying, you're flying the friendly skies. And by National Car Rental, you deserve national attention.
Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy, 14:51 to play at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, where the weather is very good, but Tom Flory's Raider offense has not been. They're 10 quarters now. No touchdowns. Chargers lead the game 6-0. They missed the extra point after scoring their opening drive. Pouts to Winslow. Loop pass downfield and a hit put on Lionel James. By Van McElroy.
Whoa.
Train derailed there with a real whack.
This one's kind of hung up in the air, and McElroy realizes, he had a chance to intercept that ball. His choice was contact with Train James.
We'll be back after this. Lionel James was just leveled, a hard shot. Battering ram hit the helmet of Van McElroy on the body of the smallest man in the National Football League, Lionel Little Train James, and one of the best players in the league. And the train derailed just momentarily.
Don, I repeat, Van McElroy from his weak safety position, he could have intercepted that ball. His choice was to level James. And he did not miss.
He's an amazing guy, Train James. Rail gent, as you mentioned, an engineering graduate of Auburn. All his life, he said, I've been too small. All I ever wanted was a chance.
He certainly made good on it. The yardage he gained last year led the Chargers in rushing, receiving, kickoff return yards, punt return yards. He was almost their entire offense. Had 1,000 yards receiving and is listed as a running back. He must stay out for this play, too. He can't go back in, even though he's up on the sideline catching his breath. Gary Anderson now at running back for the Chargers. There he is.
Second down and 10 for Pouts and the Chargers from the San Diego 18-yard line. Gary Anderson running from scrimmage gets ahead for maybe 5 yards. About 4 where they'll spot the ball at the 23. Big Sean Jones was the man who made the hit. Let's watch him on the close-up replay.
Raiders kind of remade this guy when they first got him. He was about 280 pounds. They got him down to 260 through diet and then rebuilt his body through weight training. He is long and lean and can really handle it. I mean, he's at a Northeastern, too. You don't find many great football players at a Northeastern.
Not many number ones. I think he's the only one in the league from Northeastern.
The number
the nose tackles from Rutgers and Longest from Villanova. They quit football when he left. Not from college, but they're all outstanding players. Free ball, and it's incomplete. Winslow almost had a play on it.
I think he got it.
They're going to give him the catch. They are.
Yeah, I think he got it.
It's a first down. Off the hands of a teammate. Eric Sievers, and Kellen Winslow gets it right off the top of the turf.
5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, this would not have been a legal reception. Fouts is looking around. You see him try to pressure the pocket inside. Long once again right at him. Sievers misses it. Winslow catches it. Legal catch.
Actually, 3 years ago wouldn't have been. Had to touch a defender after it touched an offensive player's hands before another offensive player could get it. And now a run is again stymied. Buford McGee, who's playing hurt, tries to go right at the Raiders, and Matt Millen throws him back.
Now, to this point, Don, the offense of the Chargers has not looked high-tech, but the thing it has not done is turn the ball over, which is what it's done the previous 2 weeks.
Don Coryell, he saw his team last week with a lead 27-23 on the Redskins. 2 minutes to play. Redskins had no timeouts and the ball on their 31. 3 plays later, they're in the end zone with the winning touchdown. Swing pass out to Anderson, looks for a hole and gets ahead on a second down and 8 play for about 4 yards. Rod Martin on the tackle for the Raiders.
This kid can do so much. Catch the ball, runs great patterns, runs the ball with that reckless abandon you want in a running back when he's completely healthy. And he can be the most electric running back or player in the game.
Scored 49 touchdowns in 2 U.S. Football League seasons. Gary Anderson. And now we see Winslow go slowly in motion. Another formation shown by the Chargers. Swing pass is caught. That's Lionel James, and he's got the first down on a 3rd and 4 play. He's out to the 45-yard line of San Diego.
That was a one-hander. And with Train James at 5'6", you got to get it close to him to have him make a one-handed catch. Chargers do a great job of picking up the blitz. Look at that catch. Catches the point of the ball, controls it, and then Lyndon King, a former San Diego Charger, there to make the tackle.
5'6", 170. James has run the ball well this year, averaging over 6 yards a rush for San Diego. They deploy their backs, though, as wide receivers. You never know what they're going to function as when the ball is snapped. Handoff goes to Buford McGee, and the Raiders again stuff that run. Howie Long, a consensus All-Pro, again makes this tackle. As we remind our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser most valuable player for today's game at the conclusion of the game. The Chargers lead the Los Angeles Raiders 6-0. After the Raiders were stopped their first drive, they punted the ball. Chargers started from their 19, drove down the field, beneficiaries of a number of penalties against the Raiders. And finally, Fouts hit wide open Kellen Winslow in the end zone from 9 yards out. Extra point was missed, and that's how it stands into the second quarter. 6-0 San Diego. James left, James right. This time it doesn't go, though, and it'll be 3rd down and long.
The thing that I admire most about Lionel James is he never seems to wear out. Returns kicks, returns punts, catches passes, runs the ball, and he's there on the last play of the game. I don't care how hot it is. They don't give that kid many breaks in a football game. He is definitely in peak condition.
Don Coryell's longtime philosophy on offense is to take one of these specialists and try to find a weakness and then keep exploiting it. They'll go back to the same thing over and over. They see a mismatch, but they'll go at it from different formations.
Free play. No, they're not going to let him get it off.
Think Howie left early?
Yeah, quarterbacks are tricky. They're not to be trusted. They'll change their voice. They're a baritone on one hut, and they're a soprano on the next. And all of a sudden,
encroachment, number 55, defense.
Matt Millen.
3rd down.
All of a sudden, Matt Millen's 3 yards deep in the offense. I think it was Howie Long, 75. There you 75. Go. Thank you, Jerry. We agree.
So now, instead of 3rd and 12, it's 3rd down and 7. 11:23 to play in the first half. The Chargers, after blowing out Miami opening day with a 500-yard offense and 50 points on the board, losers their last 2 games. Fouts against the rush. Eludes it. Penalty markers down, and so is Fouts back at the 38-yard line. Could be a holding call additionally against San Diego. Bill Pickell, the nose tackle, busted through. The Steelers are now in the win column. They just beat Pittsburgh 22-16, as those of you who are just now joining us know.
Number 89, offense, declined, 4th down.
Here at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, this is Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. The San Diego Chargers leading on a Dan Fouts to Kellen Winslow touchdown pass early in the first quarter. No scoring either way since. It's a 6-0 San Diego game. Extra point was missed. As now with 11:10 to play in the half, Ralph Moshienko from Michigan State is back to punt again for the Chargers. There's Fulton Walker, the return man for the Raiders. Los Angeles Raiders, defending champions of the AFC West, have not scored a touchdown in 11 quarters now. Over 11 quarters. Long ball hit downfield. A 50-yard punt by Moshienko, a 17-yard return by Fulton Walker. Now Tom Flores sends his offense back out when we Coliseum in Los Angeles. The Chargers lead the Raiders 6-0 in the second quarter. One of the problems with the absence of Marcus Allen, who's out with a sprained ankle for the Raiders, Trump, is the fact that, as Flores, the coach, put it, he's always been there. Psychologically, it's devastating. Yeah. We've had to change quarterbacks because of injuries, but he's always been there.
Well, I'll make this comment, too. In the second quarter, the Raiders still are not over it either. They haven't found out a way to have their offense function at all. And Marcus Allen was so much of the threat that the defense would have to account for him on every single play. Out of the lineup, obviously, they can play it pretty honest.
Mark Wilson looks to the out pattern and gets his man, Dokie Williams, with a good turn back move. Williams is out to the 44-yard line of Los Angeles. A 16-yard gain for the Raiders.
That's what the Raiders have got to do. Get these cornerbacks, get these wide receivers on these San Diego cornerbacks, just the intermediate range, and that makes the threat of the deep pass so much better. That's a nice 16-yard pickup by Dokie Williams.
Dan Fouts being attended to with a broken nose on the Chargers sideline. Knowing Fouts, he'll be back as the Raiders go to Strahan, a first-year back from Boston College, and he doesn't get much on a first down carry. Got to the 45-yard line. I don't know what the OF means, but overtime final. There you are. New England and Denver now tied 3-3. The Jets leading the Colts. Atlanta coming back to take a lead over Tampa Bay. So Dan Fouts is going to be pieced back together.
Not the first broken nose. Won't be the last one for him.
Disrupt his profile temporarily, but it won't hurt his football. He'll be right back. Strahan runs again on 2nd down and 9. Lee Williams throws him back. He was the first tackler for San Diego.
And the guy we haven't seen for the Raiders yet so far is Napoleon McCallum. The guy, Ensign McCallum, we thought we were going to see a lot of today. He's still learning the offense and also getting over a pulled hamstring. But of course, Strahan and Vance Mueller, they're there every day in practice. And McCallum right there, Ensign McCallum, doesn't come till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon after he gets off the Peleliu, amphibious helicopter ship of some sort.
Former Navy man Bob Trumpy speaking. What was your final rank?
Out of here.
Dropping back, Mark Wilson. Markers down. And it's too high for Dokie Williams down at the 38-yard line of San Diego. 8:47 to go in the first half, and we could have holding against the Raiders.
Certainly no doubt there are 2 flags within 1.5 feet of each other, so I think the Chargers will probably decline it and make the Raiders punt.
Is it offsetting maybe?
Holding number 79, offense, penalty declined, 4th down.
Now, if I'm the Los Angeles Raiders with my problems at offense, I look to try to run from the punt formation. You got to start coming up with some tricks because you really don't have your mule there to play Marcus Allen. They got to do it somehow.
Lionel James, who took that hellacious hit from Van McElroy earlier, is back to return the punt. Not too deep by Ray Guy. But they have to let it roll, and the Raiders will down it inside the 15-yard line of the Chargers. So Dan Fouts and the offense coming back out. Fouts ready to run the offense, broken nose and all, after a 39-yard punt by Ray Guy. We'll be back to the Coliseum in Los Angeles after this.
It's gotten me associated with winners like the Raiders and Mazda. You know what? Mazda trucks were just named #1 in overall customer satisfaction. They beat some pretty big names to come out on top. Not only are Mazda owners satisfied with their truck, they're even more satisfied with the way Mazda comes through for them after they bought it. You know, I like being even a small part of all this winning that's going on around me.
A very small part.
That small?
Right.
Session by the San Diego Chargers resulted in this. We can take inventory. Piquel, Long, and Sean Jones gets him with a left forearm to the nose. And Fouts has got his badge of courage out there now, a Band-Aid.
Broken nose for the San Diego quarterback. Pitch back. There comes James. Lionel James gets out to the 18-yard line on a first down run. Gave him about 4 yards on the play. Matt Millen got him. The Raider defense has stood tall most of the season. They've had trouble in the fourth quarter. Raiders have been outscored 24-3 in the final quarter. Don Coryell's Chargers have also come a cropper the last couple of games, particularly against Washington in the fourth quarter.
Last week, Joe Morris gained over 100 yards. First time in 19 games that any running back had gained 100 or more against the Raider defense. They're pulling their load.
Morris got most of his in the fourth quarter. Here's a swing pass and a catch. Coming out and taking it down is the tight end, Kellen Winslow, who has a touchdown reception today on the Chargers' opening drive. A missed extra point, and that's how it still stands. 6-0 San Diego with 7:44 to play in the half and the clock running.
Mike Haynes that time on the tackle on Kellen Winslow. Looked like the Raiders were in one of their rare zones there. Normally you don't have a cornerback covering Kellen Winslow under any circumstances.
Our producer today for NBC Sports is George Finkel. Our director, John Gonzalez. As we're down to 7:20 and running in the second quarter. Dan Fouts been putting the ball up. He's hit 7 of 15 for 61 yards and a touchdown in the game. Third down and 2, and it looks like they might not be there. We'll see. The Raiders don't think so. Lionel James carried, and Sean Jones again hinched down from defensive end to make the tackle. Watch him.
See him stand up the tackle. He takes on the lead blocker and also the running back. I don't think measurement's even necessary, Don. They're not even close to the first down. This Raider defense.
Let me ask you a question here, Bob.
Ask me.
Right now, it's third down and about a foot.
Yeah.
They're averaging 5.3 yards a rush all season. Why wouldn't you try it here?
You mean on fourth down?
Yeah.
The percentages of, well, I don't know. I can't really argue that point with you because they've gotten them to jump off sides a couple of times. You might go to the line of scrimmage, line up, and maybe get it done. But it's a good question. A lot of coaches play the percentages. And from that part of the field, they just don't want to take a chance of a missed snap, a missed handoff, and the other team getting the ball in your 20.
Right now, we pause 5 seconds for station identification.
KCRA TV, Sacramento.
Ralph Moshenko back to punt for the San Diego Chargers. They lead in the second quarter, 6-0. Walker. Free ball, and the Chargers look like they have it. They do.
That's now the 8th fumble the Chargers have had this season, lost 7. The Raiders have turned it over 3 times today, lost all 3 of them.
Ty Allard, a rookie linebacker from Texas, is the man who gets the ball. Looks like Mike Douglas is the guy who got it.
Anyway, the Chargers have it. There's certainly no doubt. Look at that. Add that to the problems of missing Marcus Allen and your offense not doing very well.
Very big drive now for the San Diego offense. Can they get points? They lead 6-0. Fouts dumps it off, and here comes Train James putting the move on, and Lionel James is down to the 25-yard line.
Whoa, Mike Haynes leveled him again, but James gets up, walks back to the huddle, and he's ready for it again.
A look at the scoreboard. Washington extends its record to 4-0. The Rams lose their first today, and the Eagles win their first. Kansas City rallied from behind at Buffalo. Minnesota laid waste to the winless Green Bay Packers. 4 o'clock games. New England down 3-0 has now come back to take a 10-3 lead at Denver. Second down and short. Lionel James dives ahead, and it looks like he might have a first down. He had to get the ball down to the 18-yard line.
He's done. He's been it for the San Diego Chargers. I mean, running it, catching it. He's got 5 receptions to this point for 50 yards, 8 carries for 23.
And that phenomenal game we did last season, as we mentioned earlier, had 345 total yards against the Raiders. Did Lionel James, rushing, receiving, and returning kicks. And of course, he ran it in from scrimmage, 3 minutes and change into overtime to end the game 40-34. Fouts standing in, firing, and he's way high. Going for Wes Chandler off the right flank. Wes Chandler will go into a crowd. That time the ball was too high to even try for it. We remind you that this telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience, and any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Los Angeles Raiders and the National Football League is prohibited.
And McElroy down, Don.
We'll be back at the Coliseum after this. Dan Fouts with some pretty good first half numbers, 9 of 18, and he spread the ball around. We'll get to just how he's broken down his passing as he right now goes to the run, and Train James takes on a defender and gets the ball down to the 20-yard line. Second down and 10 play. He got 3.
That's James's 9th carry of the first half. He's also caught 5 passes. Winslow's caught 3. Anderson 1. But it's been mainly Lionel James, the littlest guy in the NFL, carrying the load for the San Diego Chargers.
If the Chargers go to the field goal, Ralph Benirska has been perfect this season. He's 5 for 5. His counterpart, Chris Barr, the Raiders, is 7 for 7 on field goals. Fouts looks. Winslow with a big play. He's down to the 8-yard line. Maybe the 7. It's a first down, San Diego. What a good-looking play that was for the Chargers.
They had both tight ends open. Holohan was open over the middle. You can see he goes in motion. There's Winslow up underneath. It's 56 Barnes in coverage. And, of course, Barnes never looks back at the quarterback. Winslow's watching it all the way. That's a nice catch. And you see him around Dan Fouts all over the place. Piquel, that is an excellent catch by Winslow. Almost attempted a block by Trumaine Johnson, number 83, too.
First and goal, San Diego. Chargers lead 6-0 as Buford McGee is closed down for no gain. Might have lost a half yard back to the 9. Piquel, the nose tackle, made the play for the Raiders.
Piquel made the tackle. Millen, I think, makes the play. He shot the gap and was there to take on the pulling guard. Made McGee cut back inside that block, and Piquel there to clean up for little or no gain. There comes Matt Millen off the field. Raiders now expecting the Chargers to throw.
San Diego offense where the parts are interchangeable. You see Lionel James to the left of your screen coming out as a wing and now going in motion. Second and goal from the 9. Fouts fires. Man is there. Touchdown Chargers. Trumaine Johnson comes down with the ball. A U.S. Football League star caught over 170 passes in 2 years in that now quiet league, and Trumaine Johnson gets his first touchdown in the NFL.
Good pass protection here by the San Diego offensive line. Fouts has got plenty of time to look all over the field. Johnson makes a good adjustment to the pattern. McElroy in coverage, and that's the first reception by a Charger wide receiver today, and it goes for a touchdown.
So with 3:34 to go in the first half, the Chargers now look to extend their lead to 13-0, and they do. Benirska, you remember, was wide on his first extra point try. This one is good. We'll be back with the Chargers kickoff after this. Los Angeles, but the Raiders again without points. They've now gone over 11 quarters without points this season. Have not scored since midway through the third quarter of their opener. Have not scored a touchdown at Denver. And the Chargers just went down the field, and finally it was a Dan Fouts, broken nose and all, gunning the ball high in the air, and Tremaine Johnson going up and coming down with it for a score. 2 touchdown throws for Fouts. First to Winslow, now to Johnson, and it's a 13-0 game, San Diego. Stephon Adams is back deep along with Fulton Walker now as Benershka kicks off. Fulton Walker from the 2. And the Raiders will go from their 19-yard line with 3:23 to play in the first half. We'll be back to Los Angeles after this. Before the game meeting, Alex Spanos wondering how do you get Cornelius Bennett from Alabama, who's the #1 rated college defensive player, and Al Davis probably wondering how you get Vinny Testaverde, who's the #1 rated player, the Miami and Florida quarterback.
They'd both like to make that deal right now.
Right now, the ball at the Raider 19-yard line. 1st and 10 for Mark Wilson. Raiders playing without Marcus Allen, the NFL's most valuable player of last season, out with an ankle sprain. Wilson gets it away, and Todd Christensen holds on at the 40. 21-yard gain.
Now, even though the Chargers only have 13 points on the board, the way this Raider offense is struggling, it looks like 30. They have not gotten the ball down the field with good regularity. When they do, they turn it over.
Game clock ticking, 2:53 as you see, and winding on down in the second quarter. At halftime, we'll be going to Bob Costas and NFL 86 in New York. The Chargers lead here, 13-0. Mark Wilson again goes to Todd Christensen, who, as we mentioned at the outset, has averaged 7 catches a game in his last 7 games against the Chargers, and he's getting a ton today. He's got 5 already.
They certainly ought to know each other very well. Teammates at BYU. I still don't understand why the Chargers don't do a better job of holding Christensen up at the line of scrimmage. Make him throw it to the wide receivers.
I don't think they can. I think everybody tries. Great hand fighter. They're letting him run free. You're right.
No hold-up whatsoever.
That's right. There was no hold-up at all on Todd Christensen. They played off him. He ran free and makes his 6th reception. Good for 13 yards and another Raider first down.
He had absolutely a free release off the line of scrimmage. No one was even close to him, and I don't blame Mark Wilson for looking at him. Oh, my goodness.
For every man who wears Brute deodorant, there's a woman who will always be glad that he did. Because a man who wears Brute deodorant is nice to be close to. Brute. It smells like a man.
Great.
This season, McDonald's is getting you into the game.
Heard about McDonald's kickoff payoff games? No. How do you play?
Collect and trade cards of your favorite NFL stars.
I got his card. I got his card. His card. I got his card.
Each kickoff payoff card's a winner. Win a McDonald's sandwich.
At least make an attempt, Don.
He absolutely, as you said, released free. Nobody touched him. Now they're lining somebody up over him. Raiders are trailing 13-0. Long ball, way too long, and intercepted. Coming down with the ball was Gil Byrne, one of the safeties, and he is back with his 2nd interception of the day. And again, the Raiders are quartered on a San Diego interception. At halftime, it's to New York and NFL 86. There'll be a roundtable discussion about football injuries, a problem that is being focused on even more intently this year with some key players gone for the season. Bob Paul and Ahmad will talk about Jim McMahon and Kelvin Bryant, Tim Lewis of Green Bay, and Hugh Green's injuries. And Tony Kubek will interview Roger Clemens of the now American League East Championship club, the Boston Red Sox.
Don, that's the 4th turnover of the day for the Los Angeles Raiders. It appeared to me on that play, Mark Wilson had locked in his mind in the huddle, I'm going to Dokie Williams. The reason I say that, Christensen again wide open over the middle.
Raiders go to the run. There's not much there, but Lionel James bounces off it like a rubber ball and gets out to the 31-yard line. When he was stopped at the line of scrimmage, he eventually got ahead for 8. Van McElroy knocked him down, and the Chargers might be content here, Trump, to run it out.
You can't coach this. James bumps into his own guy, Kowalski, 68. Bounces it outside, stays inbounds, you're probably right. They're going to run the clock out, be happy with a 13-0 lead. Fumble.
Looks like the Chargers have it back at their 23-yard line. Fouts lost it, and Lyle James, who's done everything else, recovers the fumble.
Sean Jones has been around that football a lot today, too, hasn't he?
He's a good-looking player.
Yes, he is.
Now the Raiders looking to get it back on a punt, call a timeout with 1:10 to play in the half.
Number 82 was the consummate receiver. In the 1958 NFL Championship, he caught 12 passes to ensure a place in the Hall of Fame. Who was this Baltimore Colt legend?
Skins trailing 13-0 and still winless this season. Throwing a strike down the middle. A penalty marker comes in. Free ball. Was it a catch and a fumble or incomplete? Jerry Robinson comes up with a ball that was on the hands of Pete Holohan. They're ruling it a catch and a fumble. It's the Raiders' ball.
We got to know what the flag is first. If it's defensive holding, the ball goes back to the Chargers.
Don Weiss and Armin Terzine of the NFL office are here to review on tape if need be.
Pass interference. Number 80, offense. Penalty declined. First down.
Looked to me like Jerry Robinson took that right away from, I believe it was Kellen Winslow. Let's see if we can see who it is. That ball bounced up. No, that's Holohan. That's Holohan.
Yeah, he dropped it.
Bounced right up, right into the hands of Jerry Robinson. And the Raiders have their first turnover. First time inside this area for him today.
Raiders now with not much time. 58 seconds. First half. Incomplete. Looking at Christensen down at the 27-yard line of San Diego.
Wilson that time did an excellent job of avoiding the rush. Chargers all over him. Steps out of the pocket a little bit. Here's Christensen. He just finds a dead spot, and then the ball is thrown low. I think Wilson saw the defensive back coming in, threw it low to avoid the interception.
Tom Flores was pointing out, Trump, that last year the Raiders were 1-2 after 3 weeks of play. Then they won 6 in a row, eventually went on to a 12-4 record and the divisional championship. Now they're down 13-0. Long ball. Hester's out there, broken up. Recovering and making a big play on defense was the rookie cornerback from Maryland, Donald Brown.
He almost comes up with his football. Does a great job of timing his jump. That's great defense when you can get yourself between that receiver and that football. And the quarterback's got to go through you or over you to get the pass, make the pass a completion. So far, for most plays in this first half, Charger defense has played well.
Yes, Charger defense has been strong. 47 seconds left now in the first half for the LA Raiders. Ball at the Charger 40-yard line.
No hold up on Christensen.
Wide open down at the 24-yard line, and 1-3 is Goki Williams. He is down to the 7-yard line. Gilbert gets him as the clock ticks down to 35 seconds, a 33-yard gain. And the Raiders get a big ovation here at the Coliseum. They've not scored a touchdown in almost 12 quarters.
That's Goki Williams' 4th catch of the day. This is a missed tackle. Look, Williams is just standing there, and the cornerback misses him. Williams, with great speed and good shiftiness, turns it into a big gain. 33 yards. First and goal now for the Raiders. Last week, I don't think I have to remind the people in San Diego, the 2 wide receivers for the Washington Redskins combined for 13 catches and just over 300 yards. And today it looks like the Raiders are going to have another receiver over 100 yards against these cornerbacks.
At halftime, NFL 86, a roundtable discussion about football injuries and an interview with Roger Clemens of the Boston Red Sox, who today made it official in the American League East. The Sox are going to the playoffs against the California Angels in the American League. Jerry Robinson with his first interception for the LA Raiders. He came here, you remember, a year ago from the Philadelphia Eagles. And it turns out to be a big one as it gets the Raiders now subsequently down into scoring position. 35 seconds to go in the half. San Diego leads the game 13-0. And as you see, it is first and goal for the Raiders at the Chargers' 8-yard line.
Last week, Raiders had the ball inside the 30 of the Washington Redskins 5 times came away with just 3 field goals.
Power formation. Extra tight ends are in. Andy Parker comes in and goes in motion. Wilson looks. Here's the rush from O'Neill. He's going to get him. Nicely done by Wilson. Now they're going to rule him down. They're going to give Leslie O'Neill a sack.
In the grasp, they call it.
Boy, O'Neill can run. Woo.
Young man out of Oklahoma State who catches this from the backside. I think he's looking at.
Third and last charge timeout, Raiders.
I think he was looking initially at Todd Christensen, covered very well by the Chargers. And now
Raiders just took their last timeout from with 28 seconds to go in the half, and San Diego in the lead 13-0. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 12-yard line.
You would certainly think that the Chargers would guess that the guy who's the primary receiver is Todd Christensen in this case. They've not thrown the ball to the backside of the backfield that much today. Marcus Allen being healthy, he'd certainly be your pick. You got to cover him, and he sets up so many other things the offense does. This spot on the field puts the defense at a terrible disadvantage, because the defense can use the end line of the end zone as another defender. You know they're not going to run a pattern more than 15 yards deep, so you know when to stop. This is the toughest part of the field to score from. They haven't run the ball, so you can't look for a run here. They almost have to throw it to stop the clock. 28 seconds left. And they almost have to throw it in the end zone. So San Diego has those things that they know should help them.
Wilson's passed for a lot of yards, 172, but the interceptions have been costly.
And he's really only gone to 2 guys, Christensen and Dokie Williams.
Raiders trailing 13-0, 28 seconds to play. Fouts was intercepted once on a bobbled ball that Robinson made a spectacular play on. Mark Wilson of the Raiders has been picked off twice. Gilbert got them both. One of the San Diego safeties.
The officials are huddling on the field here now. Looks like the umpire was contacted by the replay official. You can see the man listening to the device at his ear.
They probably took a look to see if they felt that Wilson got the ball away, but they gave a sack to Leslie O'Neill, and it stands. It's a loss back to the 12-yard line, so instead of 2nd and goal from the 8, it'll be 2nd and goal from the 12.
Looks like single coverage at the top of the screen here.
Into the end zone, wide open, but Jesse Hester can't get to the ball. He claims he was interfered with. No penalty. The clock is stopped with 23 seconds left, and it's 3rd down and goal now for the Raiders.
Hard to imagine with the problem that the Chargers have had with their cornerbacks, that in that situation you go with a man-to-man coverage. And I think Hester was held too. Right at the break, you had both receivers, Dokie Williams and Jesse Hester, right there next to each other. It looked to me like Charger defensive back Donald Brown got his hand on Hester, but no flag. Here it is again this side now.
Said yesterday that it's really been a game of inches down close. We just haven't made those plays, but they turn into miles when you don't get there. Wilson on 3rd down, scrambling into the end zone, and down with the ball is Dokie Williams. It's a touchdown for the Los Angeles Raiders. Both feet were in. The back judge standing there looking right at him. The head shakes up and down. So the Robinson interception has turned into a touchdown for the Raiders. Their first in over 11 quarters of elapsed time.
This is an excellent job of, one, avoiding the rush by Wilson and then getting it off. 2 feet must be down inside that white line. From here, it looks like an excellent catch. Very well done by Dokie Williams.
Wayne Davis was covering. So the Raiders come up with points when it looked like they go to the locker room shut out in the first half. 16 seconds to play in the half. Extra point is up and good by Chris Barr. It's now a 13-7 game, and that missed extra point on the first touchdown by Benerska of the Chargers would loom large as this game wears on into the second half.
Again, you see Williams at the bottom of the screen, and Wilson just getting the ball up there. It's up to Williams to make the catch and Receivers have the feel of the in-line and the sideline. The extra point has already been kicked. There'll certainly be no changing of that play. The 7-point stand on the board. That's Williams' first touchdown catch of the 1986 season. Imagine Tom Flores has a sigh of relief. Finally, a touchdown.
The Chargers have not beat the Raiders since the Raiders moved to Los Angeles in '82, and really when you look back over the long record of these two teams dating back to the American Football League, the Chargers last beat the Raiders when they were the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Raiders were from Oakland back in 1960, the first year of the AFL. That one wasn't even close, with Jack Kemp quarterbacking the then Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers beat the Raiders, who were quarterbacked by Flores, 55-28. Mark Wilson had thrown 8 touchdown passes in his last 3 starts against San Diego. Gets his first one today after 2 interceptions. And it's now a 13-7 game. That's got to be demoralizing for the Chargers.
You're right. Points at the end of a half can help a team like the Los Angeles Raiders, who have not played particularly well.
Lionel James takes it up the middle of the field and gets to the 25-yard line for San Diego. As the clock shows 12 seconds to play, and Fouts and the Charger offense come out. Ball positioned at the 25-yard line of San Diego. At halftime, we'll be going to NFL 86 in New York. But right now, the Chargers, they're going to run it out. They're just going to go to the run and take a 6-point lead to the locker room. They thought they were going to take a 13-point. That will do it for the first half. As you look at the scoreboard.
Done to try and cut down on the number of injuries in a seemingly increasingly violent game. Ahmad Rashad?
Bobby, I don't think there's many things that you can do to cut down on the injuries, because if you play football a long enough time, it's inevitable you're going to get hurt. You just hope that it's nothing that's really serious. But it's such a physical game, and the players are so big and so fast that, you know, you have to be more lucky than good to try to get through a season healthy. And I think that's what happens. The guys that can play a long time are the guys that don't get the injuries. And it's just a matter of luck. You see one guy get tackled, goes down, nothing's wrong with him. You see the very same tackle, guy goes down, he's got a broken leg. So it's a situation where you almost have to be lucky.
You had a serious knee injury at one time in your career. It cost you an entire season. Was your fear of injury, your attitude toward it, different before and after the injury?
I think I tore my knee ligaments, and I think right when I was getting the operation, I thought about the injury a little bit then. But I realized in order to go back and play, I could not let that bother me at all. Guys that have a problem with thinking about getting injured, they can't play. You can't play football like that. You'd be better off playing tennis.
You ever play with or against anybody who you felt purposely tried to hurt someone? Not intimidate them, not shake them up, that's obviously part of the game, but hurt them.
I don't think I played against very many people that actually went out to try and really do bodily harm to somebody on purpose. Dick Butkus used to do it to people all the time, but it wasn't on purpose. It's just the way that he played the game. So I can't think of anybody that really would go out and try to take somebody's career away because they're in the same situation and they think about their career also.
What about the tackling techniques? The old-timers will say, look, we used to tackle. We lowered our shoulder, we got you around the knees, we brought you down the way you hit a tackling dummy. These guys, more often than not, bam, just have a collision.
You know, that's a good point, because in the old days when they had the leather helmets, they did not use their helmets to tackle. They tackled with their shoulders, therefore making the game a little bit more safe. But now that they have those helmets, some players are using those as a weapon. And that almost can, that can cause a lot of injuries there. Maybe if they wanted to really protect the game, they'd soften the helmets up a little bit. You find a lot of guys not using them as a spear.
Of course, you soften them up, and then maybe you lessen the protection against an accidental blow to the head and the possibility of a neck injury. You think anything at all should be changed, or is it just something we live with?
I like to see it take the face mask off again. I played in high school. How do you think I got this face? In high school, we never wore face masks. I mean, you know, this thing's worn out 4 bodies. But, you know, there's really nothing you can do. And I agree with Ahmad. You know, this game is so physical. The difference between the players when I played, I know Ahmad is a little bit younger than I am. 3 days.
I watched you play, though, when
I know when you were real
junior high
small.
school.
before you could read, which was up about a week ago. You know, when the guys played in those days, they were just as big as the guys are today. They weren't as fast. I don't think they were as strong as they are today. And when you have those two forces coming to each other, and if you think about it, and I think that's the most important thing that Ahmad talked about, I had both my knees operated on, and if you ever think about that injury...
Fans, you got to be encouraged. They've had 4 turnovers in the first half, and yet they only trail by 6.
That's encouraging?
Absolutely, that's encouraging. I mean, without the 4 turnovers, they had the ball down inside. They had it in the scoring range 4 times, and those 4 turnovers just killed 4 drives. So they've not been very efficient, and I'm not sure they're going to get better offensively, but at least psychologically they got to feel, hey, look, if it's not for the big mistake, we're leading this ball game.
Well, the Raiders have been outscored 24-3 in the 4th quarter. That has been their down quarter, but so has it been the down quarter of the San Diego Chargers. They've not done well late in the game. The first half has been their half in the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, and then I think both these teams suffer from the same problem today. I don't think they've got the horses. It's pretty obvious that Gary Anderson for the Chargers is not going to be much of a factor today because of his hip pointer. And they got Tim Spencer out with a bad knee, and Marcus Allen missing for the Los Angeles Raiders means that basically Fouts has got his wide receivers and Lionel James to go to. And unfortunately for Mark Wilson, it appears he's got Doki Williams and Todd Christensen to go to, and that's really about it. So you're looking for balance when you play football. Balance between offense and defense, balance between run and pass, and balance between outside receivers, tight ends, and running backs catching the ball. Neither team today in very good balance.
Well, let's look at the halftime numbers as Mark Wilson limbers up that right arm that kept him out for a week with a partially separated shoulder. Raiders have run the ball. Not very well at all. 30 yards without Marcus Allen.
Look at those numbers passing for Dan Fouts, though, in the Chargers. He's yet to throw for 300 yards in his 1986 season. And this guy wrote the book on 300-yard games, 47 in all, which is a league record, 6 400-yard games. And with his broken nose, I don't think that's a factor. Look, the Raider defense has done an outstanding job. It's the inconsistency. It's the lack of horses, I think, on the Raider offense. It's really hurt Los Angeles more than anything else.
The Raiders ready to kick it off as we get set now to start the 3rd quarter of play. You joined us late. Chargers scored on their first possession. Started at their 19. Were aided and abetted by some personal foul calls against the fired-up Raiders. Got it down close, and Fouts hit Winslow. Dan Fouts to Kellen Winslow from 9 yards out. Extra point missed. It was 6-0. The Chargers extended their lead in the 2nd quarter with another Fouts touchdown throw as we see Tom Flick warming up. I don't know if that means anything. Dan Fouts, as you know, does have a broken nose suffered in this game. Then the Raiders came back, turning an interception by Jerry Robinson a short time later into a touchdown reception by Doki Williams. Lionel James lets it bounce, and the Raiders will have to kick off from their 30.
In case you tuned in late, Marcus Allen out with that badly sprained ankle he received last week on the sideline in street clothes. And there's Dan Fouts with his broken nose. Looks like he's going to be all right. That's got to be one of the lowest yards totals for Dan Fouts in his career professionally. 97 yards and a half on 11 completions.
I tell you, it's news when Dan Fouts doesn't throw for 300 yards. He's had 48 career 300-yard games.
And he hasn't thrown for one yet in 1986. It's been the turnover. That's the big story today. 4 by Los Angeles, 2 resulting in scores, and 1 by San Diego, resulting in the Raiders touchdown at the end of the first half.
Strong suit of the Raider team is unquestionably the defensive front 3. 3 tremendous Pro Bowl quality players. Long is a consensus All-Pro, but Sean Jones is starting to look just as good, although they're both aided to Kellen Jones by the fact that Howie Long is always double team blocked. And here comes Lionel James. Not done. Oh, he lost the ball. Who's got it? Raiders think they do. Right in front of the Raider bench are some happy Raiders, and the official concurs. And so the Raiders start to make it happen now with defensive play.
You can never say too quickly. Tim Moffitt apparently comes up with the recovery, but you can never say too quickly. The replay will always be the final judge on this. The ground cannot cause the fumble. Oh, it's loose. It's loose. There is no question about that. Raider ball. Tim Moffitt at the Charger 40.
Talking to Armin Terzian and Don Weiss in the NFL, who are reviewing the questionable calls on tape. They looked at 2 in the first half. Dokie Williams' touchdown catch and also the Jerry Robinson interception that came just before it. Both plays stood as called. And here is Mark Wilson going long. He's got a man open. It's a touchdown for the Raiders. Jesse Hester sprinting off the left flank. In from 40 yards out for a Raider touchdown. So again, they convert quickly after getting a turnover. And the Raiders now in position to take the lead.
Donald Brown, the man in coverage. Don, the thing I absolutely cannot believe is that single coverage. That's man-to-man coverage by cornerbacks who last week gave up 13 catches and 318 yards to 2 wide receivers. Once again, it's a mismatch. Brown wasn't even close. Wilson had the protection. That's not very smart.
And that trump is only Hester's 3rd catch of this season and the first for a touchdown. So that time, the pattern and the throw were perfect. And now Chris Barr looking to put up a 14th point for the Raiders, which he does, and Los Angeles takes the lead.
That's unbelievable.
It's 14-13 Raiders. Will be back after this.
Against the Los Angeles Raiders, so they back it up 10 yards, and Chris Barr's got to kick it again.
Raiders have converted both San Diego turnovers in this game into touchdowns, and those were on the last 2 possessions of the Raiders. And now, after the penalty call against the Raiders on the extra point that was good, Chris Barr will try again, and again Chris Barr is good. So the Raiders do take the lead 14-13 with just 25 seconds gone in the second half. We'll be back with the Raider kickoff.
Welcome to the Silver Bullet, home of a cold Coors Light.
Rob, do you work out?
Yeah, I belong to a club. Here's your club.
And by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light, it doesn't get any better than this.
Well, it could get better than this for the San Diego Chargers, who've turned the ball over on their last 2 possessions, which the Raiders have quickly turned into touchdowns. Actually, they hit the ball for a few seconds and ran out the clock in the first half after a turnover led to the Raiders' first score. And now look at the scored chart around the league in the 4 o'clock starting games. Dan Fouts looking to come in. Fractured nose suffered in the first half.
Certainly an indication of how momentum can quickly switch from one side of the ball to the other. Chargers had this football game in control with 2 minutes to go in the first half, and now find themselves a point down with 25 seconds gone in the second half. This is easy pickings for the Los Angeles Raiders as long as the Chargers continue man-to-man coverage. One, those receivers are just faster than the defenders. Donald Brown, a rookie out of Maryland. That's a mismatch. Why they keep going with a man-to-man? Someone's got to ask that question.
Well, the coordinator, I think, is asking it right now, and I doubt if they'll stay with it. As Hester beat the corner flat. Now a short kickoff by Chris Barr. Here's Little Train James. Remember, he dropped the last one running it back. Still on his feet. Raiders going for the ball, and they get him at the 20. So the Charger offense comes out, and will put the ball in play for the first time in the second half, although they just received their second kickoff.
Fouts with just 97 yards passing in the first half. Only 1 catch by a wide receiver. The bump and run by Lester Hayes and Mike Haynes done an outstanding job. They got to find another weapon other than Lionel James in the second half.
High set. Anderson swings out of the backfield, but the throw goes downfield. The breakup is made by Matt Millen, who likes it.
That was almost an interception. It was intended for Kellen Winslow from behind the defense. He runs just an out pattern, and Matt Millen's right underneath it. Well, that could have been the 3rd turnover in 3 series for the San Diego Chargers.
Chargers with big trouble over the years here at the Los Angeles Coliseum. Gary Anderson looks to run the ball, and on a 2nd down and 10 play, he gets only a couple. Trying to cut back Raider linebackers in position again. Jerry Robinson made the stop for Los Angeles.
Now, don't you agree that Gary Anderson looks very tentative out there? Looks hurt. Normally when he plays, he is just...
They haven't sent him long either. Now he's going out of the game. He runs the fly pattern. He just can't run well with a hip pointer.
Yeah, he just turns it loose when he plays and when he's healthy. certainly no doubt that hip pointer is bothering him.
The Chargers all say that Anderson's a tremendous competitor. Plays every down of practice like it's a game. But he can't go hard today, apparently, with the hip pointer. Now, motion in the Raider line. They got him 3 times in the first half for coming early.
They got him again. The quarterback's not allowed to bob his head, but he can change his voice inflection.
Encroachment foul, number 75, defense, 3rd down.
Quarterback can change his voice inflection. There's no, look at that. I don't think I've ever seen a football game where one team is not penalized yet or had one accepted. How about that?
Personal foul calls back-to-back in one play against the Raiders gave the Chargers 30 yards in opening drive, and subsequently they scored the first touchdown of the game.
Joyner. Oh!
On a 3rd and 2, the Chargers don't get there, and they have to punt the ball back to the Raiders, who've scored their last 2 possessions in this game to take a 14-13 lead on San Diego.
Sam Sia was the man in coverage. Joyner doesn't miss many of those. Bounce calls him his security blanket. And once again, the Chargers appear to be going into shock here. I don't know what's going to get them out of it.
Mosienko with good punting numbers. Chargers could give up good field position here, though, as Fulton Walker's back. He's going to return it from his 35. Open field tackle made on the play. Coming down to get him was Ty Allard, the rookie linebacker from Texas, a 36-yard punt and a 5-yard return. We'll be back after this. Marcus Allen, the main man in the Raider attack on the sidelines, throwing the 2nd time in his 5 years with Los Angeles. A double sprain of an ankle keeps him out this week, hopefully not longer. Meanwhile, the rushing game has not been there.
Mueller 7 for 11, Hawkins 1 for 15, Strahan 2 for 4. All throwing.
Raider offense, after going over 11 quarters without a touchdown, has come alive with 2 in the last 2 possessions, and now Los Angeles goes to the run. Vance Mueller breaks ahead out to the 45-yard line as we run down all the scores of this 4th Sunday. Seattle 3-1 in the AFC West. Washington still perfect 4-0. So are the Chicago Bears, perfect at 4-0. San Francisco doing well. The Rams suffer their first loss. Kansas City moves to a 3-1 record, coming from behind. Minnesota rolling to its 3rd win in a row. New England and Denver in a shootout. New England holding to a 3-point lead in the 3rd quarter as Fred Robinson stops the runner for Los Angeles, Vance Mueller.
Robinson, an interesting kid, started out as a defensive end. Then they started standing him up. You see Christensen trying to make a block on him there. Robinson throws Christensen out of the way, and he stocks Mueller for about a yard gain, bringing up 3rd and another yard.
12 minutes and 20 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. Raiders 14, Chargers 13. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Clear and sunny, temperature in the 60s.
Clock ticking here. Taking an awful long time in that huddle, Don.
1 second, they don't get it off, so the Raiders misfunction, an expensive one. 3rd and less than 2, they take too long, it'll be 3rd and 7. In McCallum on the sidelines, no kick returns, nothing today.
Nothing. We expected to see a lot of him too, Don.
With Marcus Allen out.
Didn't get it.
They didn't mark up any penalty on it, so the Raiders, did they call a timeout?
No, they called a timeout. Strahan didn't even come close. Very slow getting to the line of scrimmage. Thomas Benson makes the tackle, so the Raiders must punt once again.
So in hindsight, they'd have been better off taking the penalty and saving the timeout for later, but we all have 20/20 hindsight.
Yeah, I don't know, though, about that. I think I'd take the timeout. The chances of you converting 3rd and 1 are about 70% better than you converting 3rd and 6.
Lionel James standing at the 10.
Ray Guy back at his 30-yard line, ready to punt the ball now, and hits it well for the Raiders. Little Train James lets it hit as it goes into the end zone for a touchback. The Chargers will have it now after the 55-yard punt into the end zone. 35 net as it comes out to the 20. Chargers have it 1st and 10. Be sure to join us 1 week from today for exciting NFL action. Your day gets under. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. Dan Fouts looks to go long on 1st down. Throwing a catch. Chandler comes down with the ball at the 34-yard line for a San Diego 1st down, a 13-yard gain.
I'll have to check with our statistician, Dennis Mnuchin. I think that's just the 2nd reception by a wide receiver from the San Diego Chargers today. Of course, with the bump and run coverage with Hayes and Haynes, his first. Tremaine Johnson caught the other one for a touchdown. They've shut those wide receivers down very well.
Straight ahead carry to Gary Anderson. On 1st down, he got ahead for maybe 4 out to the 37-yard line. Howie Long closed and made the tackle. But now it's a different game. It's swung markedly. It's amazing how one play can turn it, and it was a spectacular and very difficult interception by linebacker Jerry Robinson that really turned this game. Chargers were looking to run out the half. Threw the ball in a 3rd down play, and Robinson got it after it was tipped by a San Diego receiver, and quickly, with less than a minute to play, the Raiders got in the end zone for their first touchdown in a long time. Now they lead 14-3 as Fouts grounds the ball, but there's no penalty down.
Sean Jones right in his face. One of the big matchups today, I thought, for San Diego was how Jim Lachey would handle Sean Jones. That time, Sean Jones just threw Jim Lachey. You'll see it right in front of you. Watch him throw him to the ground. Threw him right out of the way. And Jones is a big fella, too, almost 6 feet 8 inches tall. I don't know why grounding wasn't called.
Can't blame Dan Fouts for unloading when Sean Jones comes calling. He broke his nose in the 1st half.
Yeah, I imagine he goes back to the huddle and says, where else do you want a Band-Aid, son? Where else?
3rd down now, a long 6 for the Chargers. They're down by a point. 14-13. Connection for a 1st down to the 49-yard line of the Raiders. Lionel James comes out of the backfield and Fouts just before he is leveled again. Releases the ball for a 1st down throw. 15 yards. We'll watch from the end zone.
This didn't look right. There were 2 receivers standing about 2 yards from each other. Now, once again, Millen is going to deck Fouts. But look, there's people everywhere. Looks like a screen by Kellen Winslow. He gets it done. Jerry Robinson, 57 there. Turan, 30. Seal, 45. Davis, 45.
Gary Anderson knocked back by the thrust of Sean Jones again. 99, playing an all-pro game.
And pretty obvious that he's the guy they're picking on, too. They're not running really at Howie Long, and I don't blame them. But he's done an excellent job of standing Lachey up. There you see 99 on 74. This stops him with his backside. Gary Anderson bounces off for little or no gain. Jones is playing a heck of a football game. Number 2 from Northeastern.
Born in Kingston, Jamaica, was Sean Jones. Grew up in New Jersey. Went to Northeastern, a big school, although little known for football, in Boston.
Free play.
And a connection to Pete Holohan, and he's down to the 30-yard line. It's a Charger 1st down, a 20-yard gain.
They'll take it, too. Stacy Turan was coming on the safety blitz, was offsides. And Fouts. Yeah, it looks like we got 2 flags. One at the line of scrimmage and one down the field a little farther. Mark Bright and his crew will sort things out. The Raiders are moving in a direction like it might. Both penalties might be against the Raiders. And they'll take the play.
We have 2 defensive fouls. We have holding, number 45, defense, penalty declined. We have offside. Number 75, defense, it's declined, 1st down.
Howie Long's upset. I don't think it was Howie Long offside. I think it was Stacy Turan. Davis was the man in coverage. Holohan's been open a lot.
Tackled by his former Notre Dame teammate, Stacy Turan, was Holohan as Fouts looks. Lets a rip and almost got a side judge. Sure didn't get a receiver.
Well, the side judge was open. You can't be too particular on some days. That's one thing about Dan Fouts. He'll throw it away. Just cancel that play. We'll go back and do it again.
Fouts has thrown for more yards than any active quarterback in the NFL. The San Diego offense under coordinator Ernie Zampese has led the NFL in yards for 6 of the last 7 seasons, been the most productive.
But the defense has never ranked better than 25th in that period.
That's what some coaches say. What would Fouts ever have been if he played with a defense? Fouts throws, incomplete. Nice break up by Turan. Penalty markers down in the Charger backfield also.
Intended once again for Holohan. Turan did a great job in coverage there. You can see the Chargers trying to find athletes to go to, trying to find people to throw the ball to. It's against the Chargers holding.
That's the first Charger penalty of this game.
Holding,
New England
number 68, offense, second down.
Gary Kowalski. Jets shutting out Indianapolis. Tampa Bay en route to a major upset. They won at Detroit last week and now are up over previously unbeaten Atlanta.
I look for James right here. Try to get the ball to James about 4 or 5 yards across the line of scrimmage to see if he can break a run here.
Screen blocker in front. Masic's out in front of Gary Anderson, and again markers are down in the Charger backfield.
Now they had a double screen set up. It's against the Chargers. They had a screen set up to Lionel James, and they had a screen set up to Gary Anderson, chose Anderson. But the penalty is going to bring it all back.
Holding, number 68, offense, second down.
That's 2 in a row. Now he's on Howie Long. And when you got a quarterback back there already with a broken nose, I guess the right choice is you hold him as opposed to him breaking something else.
So now 2nd down and 30 comes up for the Chargers. Has an open field to run, elects to throw, and he's intercepted by the Raiders. Coming in to make the play is Jerry Robinson, his 2nd interception of the game.
What is this? Intended for Holohan. Fouts avoids the rush. Dan Fouts normally doesn't make many bad choices.
10 interceptions thrown by Fouts in the last 3 games.
This one, I think he's trying to force it a little too much. Look, Holohan is covered. Robinson, his 2nd spectacular interception.
Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy back at the Los Angeles Coliseum after 2 touchdown throws early by Dan Fouts of the Chargers. It's now swung the other way on interception.
And the Chargers have allowed the Raiders to get right back in this football game. Dan Fouts is not making very good decisions. He certainly didn't there. No reason to try to force that ball in there. Robinson, another spectacular catch.
Throwing a catch to Dokie Williams. Who's been in the end zone earlier with that sensational play at the end of the end zone, right at the back line for a touchdown late in the 2nd quarter. Now with 8:15 to play in the 3rd quarter, the Raiders get a 1st down.
Look at the cushion here. Man-to-man coverage again by the cornerbacks. It's easy. I mean, look. He catches the ball and takes 2 steps before we see a defensive back from the San Diego Chargers.
Almost intercepted. Gil Byrd almost had his 3rd. He intercepted Mark Wilson twice, you remember, in the 1st half, did Gil Byrd.
I think this ball surprises Dokie Williams. If he sees this ball released from Mark Wilson's hands, I think he catches it, but he sees it so late he can't make the adjustment, and then Byrd almost gets it on the tip drill.
Can't blame Wilson for throwing, Trump. Charger pass defense is 28th in the league.
By a long margin.
Last weekend, Schrader of the Washington Redskins completed 16 for an average gain of almost 22 yards. Here's Wilson trying to run, The Chargers get him. Back inside the 45-yard line, big Lee Williams ran him down. 99.
That's the 4th sack of the day for the Chargers. Something the Raiders have not done very well so far this season is protect their quarterbacks. Coming into the ball game today, they've already been sacked. I'm looking for it. I can't find it here. 6 times, 4 already, 10 for the season.
Billy Ray Smith, the best linebacker on the San Diego team, out with a sprained wrist, and it's questionable whether or not he'll be back. Wilson on 3rd and long is ripped up back at the 37-yard line. Charger pass rush starting to come on now with a 5th sack.
Dee Hardison, he finally makes the sack, but it looked to me like Leslie O'Neal was trying to knock the ball out of his hands. Now here again you see a center fielder, which is single coverage all over the field. There's nobody to throw it to. Good pressure by San Diego. I was mistaken. The Raiders coming into this game had been sacked 11 times, and now 5 today makes it 16 in 3 3/4 games. He didn't want to be out there.
Ron Lynn, the Charger defensive coordinator, said last week the lack of a pass rush exposed all our defensive deficiencies. Today the Chargers have 5 sacks. Lionel James tries to go wide right. And again, Raiders special team coverage is good. The pickup was good for just 4 yards. Be sure to join us at NBC Sports Saturday evening, October 18th, for the opening of the Fall Classic, as NBC Sports proudly presents the 83rd World Series. Baseball's great moments were first televised at NBC in 1939, and the tradition continues as the National League champions host the American League champions in Game 1. So be sure to tune in at 8 o'clock Eastern Time for Major League Baseball, an inside look, followed by the excitement and special magic of Game 1. The World Series is home on NBC. Now it's a pitch out. Looked like a forward lateral. Gary Anderson got it from Buford McGee.
First time we've seen that run, the option between Buford McGee and Gary Anderson. Neither today very healthy.
You can push it forward once behind the line of scrimmage, but not twice. But the officials say it was not forward.
Numbers not very impressive today. Grand total of 87 yards rushing between these two football teams.
Now it's looking for Chandler. He's been quiet. He looked at him first. Nobody there. And now a loop pass down the field, and Holohan can't get to the ball. So it brings up 3rd down and a long 8 for San Diego, as the Charger defense has come a cropper here as the game wears out, and that's been a problem in recent games in the second half.
The Raider defense, their coverage has been outstanding. Fouts had nobody to throw it to there, looked all over the field from one side to the other. Finally, in desperation, tried to sneak one into Holohan.
Tough scheduling for the Chargers, Trump. They've not won on the road in their last 7 tries, and they go on the road for 4 of the next 5 weeks, including this game. 14-13 Raiders. Throwing a strike and a first down for San Diego out to the 42-yard line as veteran Charlie Joyner in his 18th year from Grambling makes the play, and the Chargers convert on 3rd down.
His first catch of the day. He's creeping up on Don Maynard's record. Already has the number of catch record. Once again, you see 56 Barnes. He's picked up but splits Kowalski and Masick, the center. Fouts got up off his duff that time, but makes the reception. Sam Seal with the coverage. First down, San Diego.
Since Coryell came in 79, this is his 9th season with the Chargers. This is a team that scored more points, run more plays, more yards than any team in the NFL. But that time on a first down play, a clothesline tackle by Jerry Robinson takes down Gary Anderson. New England continues to lead Denver. Broncos win with the game unbeaten.
1 yard gain.
Atlanta closing in now on Tampa Bay, down by 6, but in the 4th quarter in Florida. The other 4 o'clock starts today. Here at Los Angeles, this is Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. NBC Sports coverage of the Raiders and the Chargers. Chargers led on 2 Dan Fouts touchdown passes in the first half, 13-0. They missed the extra point after the first. Then the Raiders converted Charger turnovers at the end of the first half and early in the second to touchdowns and a 1-point lead. It's a 14-13 game. A penalty marker is down as Pete Holohan is knocked down 8 yards downfield.
John, I think that's going to be on the offense. I think Kellen Winslow ran a pick on the defense. Yep, that's exactly what it was. I was looking right at it. That's exactly what the play's intended to do, but you hope the offensive player does not make contact with the defensive player while the ball is in the air. That's going to be offensive pass interference, and that's what happened.
Pass interference, number 80, offense. Second down.
He got caught.
This is the first time in 8 years that Dan Fouts has not thrown for at least one 300-yard game in the first 3 weeks of the season, playing with a broken nose. Suffered in the first half. Fouts trying to get the Charger offense going as they trail 14-13 with 4:55 to play in the third quarter. Second down and 19 for San Diego. Lionel James. Open field play made by veteran linebacker Jeff Barnes of the Raiders. A statistic Fouts and the Chargers really don't like is those 10 interceptions in the last 3 games. Not coincidentally, they lost 2 of them and are behind in this one.
In the game that they won, the opening game of the season against the Miami Dolphins, they were +4 in the takeaway giveaway. And their 2 losses, -6.
Third down and 17 for San Diego as they get early pass blocking from Jim Lachey. The third down and 23. 22.
Last 2 times the Chargers have had the ball now.
Full start, number 74, offense, third down.
They've ended up with third down, and last time I think it was 30.
It's unfortunate you get a look at Lachey up close for a foul call. A misfire on the pass block because already in his second year he's one of the best tackles in the National Football League out of Ohio State.
Certainly had his hands full today, though, with Mr. Jones, Mr. Sean Jones.
Mr. Sean Jones is a full load. Now Townsend's in also as the Raiders go to the 4-man rush on 3rd and 22 against Fouts. Home run ball downfield, and a breakup is made at the 44-yard line of Los Angeles. Official right there says it was all clean as they tried to go to Chandler. They've gotten it to him only once today. And the Chargers have to punt the ball back to the Raiders.
This offense is slowed to a walk. That time the Raiders did something very interesting. They had Sean Jones holding up Kellen Winslow. They don't want that tight end out there in the pass pattern. Chargers, unfortunately, their defense, they don't hold up the tight end at all. They're looking at his big number. That's the one on his back.
Numbers on the front of the jersey a little bit smaller.
Yes, they are.
I want to see that one on the back.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
He's going the wrong way without you. Here it is now, a punt downfield of Colton Walker. And he's knocked down at the 21-yard line by Pete Holohan. 49-yard punt. A missed extra point after the first touchdown and early in the game. In the first quarter by Rolf Panerski. Here it is, a shank to the left. That is the difference right now as it's a 14-13 game. The Raiders are in the lead at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Don Corey Allen, his 9th year as the head coach of the Chargers, his 13th year as the head coach in the National Football League.
McCallum's in the ball game, Don.
Napoleon McCallum turns the corner and gets out to the 27-yard line. So the man who set an NCAA all-purpose yardage record for the Naval Academy last year gets his first carry of the day and makes it a good one as he gets the ball out to the 29-yard line. And a first down carry, he gained 9. You'll see the ball more now.
As well he should. The lack of running game by the Raiders so far today, the running game is exactly what they need right now. Need some time up on the clock. Give the receivers a little room to work back there in that defense.
Wilson looks, swings it out, ball is caught. Dokie Williams out to the 40-yard line.
I'm telling you, that play has been open from the first snap of the ball game.
11 yards and a first down for the Raiders. They stop the clock with 2:42 to go in the third quarter as Dokie Williams having a big day. He now has a career best day.
Everybody seems to have career best days against the Chargers defensive cornerbacks, though.
It is a place to get well. McCallum makes on tacklers, doesn't get much on first down. They'll spot him ahead to the 42. A gain of close to 3 yards. Leslie O'Neal and Lee Williams, the defensive ends for San Diego, knocked him down. McCallum is 6'2", 215 pounds, a blue chipper in a lot of ways.
And I can't remember a football game that you and I have done where one team has allowed the other team to get in the game so decisively. Middle of the second quarter, the Chargers had the Raiders wondering what they were going to do. And now they lead 14-13, and the Chargers look like the Raiders did in the first half, confused.
They do. Wilson on 2nd and 7 going to Dokie Williams. He's got the ball at the 24-yard line. Then he loses it. Now they rule it incomplete. Official right there looking at it ruled that Williams did not have it in his possession as he was coming down. So very nearly a catch and a fumble, but it's just allowed out.
Rule is clear possession of the football with the second foot hits the ground. Wayne Davis in coverage. One. Wait a minute. We may have well, we don't have an official marking the spot, but we may have another look at it. If we got any sort of second replay, there's no call to the field yet. I think that catch should stand from what I saw there.
Third down and 8. They go to a new play. Here's another completion to Todd Christensen out of bounds at the 47-yard line for a first down. Now, while we have a moment, let's go to NFL 86. Bob?
Don, this one might remind you of that Dolphins-Chargers playoff game you called a few years ago. Elway hits Sampson, hook and trailer, the lateral to Wilhite. It's a gain of 25 on 3rd and 20. 2 plays later from the 12, Sammy Winder scores. After trailing by 10, suddenly Denver's in front, 17-13 in the third. Don.
Thank you, Bob. The Denver Broncos, Trump, lead the league in gadget plays that work. Every week they do it. Hook and ladder today. They go to the lead. 1 play later. Here now is a handoff to McCallum as he hits down to the 43-yard line.
Now, once again, let's look. This is the catch by Todd Christensen, an easy first down for the Los Angeles Raiders, but I think they got cheated. I think that catch by Dokie Williams.
Well, how about the fumble after it then? If it was a catch, it would have been the Chargers.
Now, the ground can't cause the fumble, and he was on the ground. I think he caught it, and the ground bounced the ball out. But
flag the ground then. Christensen with 7 catches for 79 yards, and here comes McCallum waiting for his chance. Napoleon McCallum, who still vividly remembers a fumble on a kick return in the opener at Denver that ultimately might have cost the Raiders that game. Running hard today.
Here's the catch again, or incompletion to Dokie Williams. 1 second foot down. I think the ground caused the ball to go away. I think that's a completion. I think that's one the Raiders should have gotten.
Replay could not confirm nor deny. Our producer George Finkel informs us after talking with the NFL. And so now it's 3rd down and 3. An open man at the 20-yard line. Jesse Hester, who on his last reception, you'll remember, was in the end zone from 40 yards out, completing a touchdown play. Now it's a 20-yard gainer. Hester with only his 4th reception of this season.
His 2nd reception today, and you can see man-to-man coverage once again. They got a free safety. Donald Brown once again trying to stay with Hester. Can't do it. I cannot understand why the Chargers haven't gone with the zone coverage. They have let those receivers run loose in that defensive backfield, and that's why they're behind the point.
14-13 back after these messages from your local station.
That's amazing.
With Bob Trumpy, this is Don Criqui back at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, where the Raiders lead the Chargers 14-13 after San Diego led in the second quarter 13-0. The scoreboard around the league, a very big game at Mile High Stadium in Denver, where the Patriots now trail the Broncos 17-13. AFC West, depending on the outcome of that, could tighten up considerably. Hand off to McCallum up the middle, and Napoleon McCallum is down to the 11-yard line, and the Coliseum salutes him. The ensign from the U.S. Navy, who's having his best game as a Raider, not getting any playing time until into the third quarter, but rising up today with some good runs, showing his power and his elusiveness.
Excellent blocking up front, too. There's the numbers all for the Raiders since the second half began. The Chargers are not firing, they're misfiring, even though they've had the ball longer.
Second and inches, second back through is McCallum, and he busts the Charger defense. First and goal, Raiders. A year ago, the Raiders were 1-2 after 3 weeks of play, then won 6 straight. This year, as you know, they're 0-3. Looking to get a run going, and rallying back might kick this team into another gear.
Gary Plummer there made the tackle, and you're right. This is exactly what the Raiders needed. A good long drive, sustained drive with a certain amount of running. Good catch by Hester certainly helped. But the Chargers have been their own worst enemy again today.
The confidence level of Napoleon McCallum have to be way up as he runs again and again. Takes down the Charger defense for yards, but there is, as you see, a marker thrown in it. McCallum with 6 carries for 30 yards all on this drive. That hurts the Raiders and helps the Chargers.
This Raider team historically.
Holding number 72, offense, first down.
That's Mosebart center. This Raider team historically been one of the most penalized teams in the last 10 years of the NFL, and they really don't seem to mind it. They don't discourage it. They'll take their shots.
But they are well, as you know, within crisp bar field goal range. If they hit one, you know that would mean a Charger touchdown would be necessary. San Diego trailing by a point. That's how big one missed extra point can be. Broken play, and Mark Wilson goes down at the 22-yard line.
That counts as a sack.
Leslie O'Neal got him, his second sack of the day, the 6th sack of this day for the Charger defense.
Now consider this. The Chargers have got 6 sacks. They've got 4 turnovers and trail by a point. It's a busted play all the way. You can see he turns around to hand off to somebody, and somebody's not there. Leslie O'Neal takes advantage of it. Raiders use a little more yards. Chris Barr, by the way, 7 for 7 so far this season for the Raiders in field goal attempts.
Leslie Cornelius O'Neal from Little Rock, Arkansas, and Oklahoma State. Now Wilson takes a look downfield. Trouble. They get him again. Down at the 23-yard line, and that brings up 3rd down and goal.
Lee Williams, the 7th sack. Look at there. Look at those numbers. I'm telling you, offensive teams with their passing game get well against the Chargers, and it looks like it's as much by design as it is execution.
Mark Wilson has thrown the ball 26 times today, has completed 17 for 277 yards and 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Ball. Chargers have it. It's San Diego's ball. Leslie O'Neal.
That's the second time O'Neal has tried to strip that ball away from Mark Wilson.
So you can start to keep drafting guys like Billy Ray Smith, and Leslie O'Neal's not going to be a bad defense long.
Watch O'Neal. He doesn't try to make the tackle. First he tries to strip the ball. He does, and comes up with the possession.
As many balls to wide receivers today as they did in the first 3 games, 9. Now here come the Chargers, down by 1. Buford McGee out of the backfield gets the reception, and the yardage that might be very close to a first down, about a yard short. Reggie McKenzie on the knockdown for the Raiders. Coach Coryell saw a big turnover there as his rookie number 1, Leslie O'Neal, stripped the ball, then recovered the fumble.
And they trail by 1 point. You take those numbers any day and tell anybody the team trails by a point, you tell them you're nuts, you're crazy.
Long way to go, though. 11:50 to play at the Coliseum. Temperature at kickoff time was 72 degrees. Clear and sunny. The track is dry in this natural grass field.
Second down. Less than a yard.
Raiders and the Chargers will be meeting again in San Diego on a Thursday night in November. Next time out for the Raiders, they'll go to Kansas City next Sunday, and you'll see that on many of these same NBC stations, to take on the Chiefs, a rising team with a 3-1 record. San Diego has a tough one the next time, but they have to go up to Seattle to play in the Kingdome against the Seahawks, who are coming off their first loss. They were beaten today at Washington. Second and less than a yard. Fouts going for it all. Gandler goes up, but comes down without. Good defense by Lester Hayes.
Stride for stride with Chandler. Never gave up his position. Both these cornerbacks for the Raiders are very gifted at the last minute, just making the contact that's needed. That's incidental contact. The officials will not call that because both are looking back at the football. So now the Chargers have not been able to run the ball very well. They go third and about the length of a football. You got to convert this third down.
The Broncos, perhaps en route to a very big win, have now opened up an 11-point lead over New England. That would give, if they hold up, the Broncos a 4-0 record in the AFC West and a 1-game lead on Seattle and Kansas City. Here is James breaking ahead on a third and less than a yard. He gets a first down.
McElroy on the tackle. And Winslow, even though he's known as an excellent receiver, not a bad blocker either. He and Lachey cave in Lyndon King, a former Charger, and that's the spot where Lionel James picks up the first down.
Tremaine Johnson is at the top of your screen in the left flank. You remember his touchdown reception that gave the Chargers a 13-0 lead. On first down, Little Train James takes it to the San Diego 47. Rod Martin got him. Game clock down to 10:40 and running. Field goal could win it conceivably for Don Coryell's Chargers. They're 1-2 coming into this game. Tom Flores, a concerned coach, but guy's done a lot of winning. 2 Super Bowl rings in his years as coach of the Los Angeles Raiders. Now in his 8th year. Fouts doing very well to get the ball away. It was a little short, and then Fouts was sent rolling back as Sean Jones caught him and threw him back.
Sometimes flags aren't thrown. Watch Winslow. See Jerry Robinson grab his jersey. He was the intended receiver, but pressure from up front. They couldn't get it done. Fouts now 16 of 35, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Those 2 interceptions produced the 14 points by the Los Angeles Raiders.
Now third down and 8 arises for the Chargers. They trail the Raiders 14-13 with 10 minutes and 11 seconds to play at the Coliseum. Chandler in motion. Good. Charlie Joyner, 18 years at it, and he's on time. Right at the 46-yard line, a connection. But they spotted, apparently, Trump, short of a first down. Now the spot comes out a little bit farther.
I think you almost have to go for it here. You don't have any choice in the matter whatsoever.
Where the referee placed the ball, it's not where the linesman had it.
Well, the markers are on this side, and receivers are taught
now they're marking it short.
The receivers are taught to get over that mark as best you possibly can. But you're right, they mark it short. He was coming back for the football. Who is this a big play? If I were Dan Fouts, I'd make this one on 6. Snap count on 6. I'd make the Raiders stay down in their stance for as long as they possibly could. Maybe get a cheap first down here.
Raiders won't be coming. 4th down inches for the Chargers. Penalty markers down all over, and so is Little Train as he fumbles the ball and gets it back.
It's going to be no play, though, because they blew the whistle before the play was dead. So whatever the infraction was, it's against San Diego.
False start. Number 60, offense. It's 4th down. 4th down. The play did not count. 4th down.
Well, now you got to punt it. Dennis McKnight was caught moving in the middle.
Definitely have to punt it with 9:46 to go and only down by a point. Here comes Moshenko, who has boomed the ball here in Southern California today, ready to punt the ball for the Chargers. Raiders holding to a 14-13 lead with 9:46 to play. Fulton Walker back for Los Angeles.
Shot themselves in the foot again. I hate to say this, but the Chargers don't need an opponent.
They have met the enemy, and they are us.
They are us.
Moshenko hits it well downfield again, and here is Walker looking at the ball. It takes a roll and goes on in. Despite the best efforts of Holohan, who's played a big game on special teams as well as from scrimmage. As a tight end. And now the Raiders get it back with a 1-point lead. This is Don Criqui back at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, where the Raiders, looking for their first win of this season, are holding to a 1-point lead over the Chargers. 14-13. 9:36 to play in the game. Handoff, and there's nothing there as Frank Hawkins gets a call and gets knocked down for a loss of a yard. Now let's go to Bob Costas in New York. Bob?
Don, at the Hoosier Dome today, the Jets have owned the Colts. New York will be 3-1. Indy will drop to 0-4. Ken O'Brien, 17 yards here to Kurt Sohn in the 4th quarter. The Jets are cruising with a 23-0 lead. Back to Criqui and Trumpy.
Easy money for the Jets today at the Indianapolis Hoosier Dome. A lot of people thought the Colts would be improved this year. I guess you can't be improved when your top 2 quarterbacks go down.
That game was not sold out in Indianapolis, too. First time since the franchise moved there.
Wilson is down as he is sacked at the 15-yard line.
That's 9 sacks for the San Diego Charger defense.
Leslie O'Neal and Lee Williams got him again.
Can any of those guys play defensive back? Can O'Neal, can he back up at all?
He looks fast enough.
Let's give him a shot.
Boy, he's a real player. And so is Lee Williams, and a lot of it's due to Chuck Ian jamming a lot of stuff in the middle, a nose tackle. Their front three's played a good game.
Yeah, well, it looks like the Chargers are playing an 11-0.
Earl Wilson's been in a lot today, too.
Chargers playing an 11-0 alignment.
Hand off to McCallum, looking for room to go, and on 3rd down and 14, he gets ahead for only a couple. And now the Raiders have to punt the ball back to San Diego as the clock ticks down to 8:20 to play.
San Diego offense is not going to have many more chances in this ball game. They've got to make good on one drive here, or James return a punt, which he's certainly capable of doing.
The drive punt formation. Lionel James standing at the 36.
Lionel James positioned inside his 40-yard line with a good chance to give the Chargers good field position. Guy hits an end-over-end punt. It's not deep, and James will run it back if he can field it, and he can't. Has to let it roll, so it goes down and out of bounds at the 39-yard line. A 43-yard punt with no return. Sometimes the knuckleballers work out better. It did there for Ray Guy.
We got a flag, too, about halfway up the field.
A look at the scoreboard. Games earlier today, the Chicago Bears starting to get on track. 4-0 and rolling. Philadelphia finally got a win under Buddy Ryan. He's talked about it enough.
On the receiving team, 1st down.
Cleveland rallied to beat Detroit. And the 4 o'clockers, the big ones at Denver, where the Broncos now lead the New England Patriots by 11 points in the 4th quarter. We'll be back to the Coliseum in Los Angeles after this. For what's always a slug out with the Kansas City Chiefs, a team off to a 3-1 start. Be sure to check your local listings for the game and time in your area. Your team plays here on NBC Sports. To the run, go the LA Raiders and Napoleon McCallum, the big back from the Naval Academy, right at the Charger defense. Good blocking up front. Mosbar the center, Hanna and Marvin the guards, Davis and Lawrence the tackles, and McCallum now, as you see, has 46 carries, 46 yards on 8 carries.
From behind the defense, you see what happens here. They run a little trap play, a little lead play. Yard does an excellent job. Charlie Hanna sealing off the linebacker. And there's nobody in front of McCallum at all.
This is only Hanna's second game back after the extended contract holdout. Second game in uniform and playing. Here's a throw on the flat. Dokie Williams turns upfield. He's out of bounds at the 49-yard line and very close to a Raider first down.
Dokie on his Christmas wish list wants to play the Chargers every week. This is his personal best ball game as a pro.
8 receptions, 143 yards, and a touchdown.
They haven't been tough either. I mean, they've been open.
Dokie Williams caught 1 touchdown throw. That was the first just before halftime. Hester was on the receiving end on a 40-yard play for the second score. Back to the run. McCallum trying to go wide on first down. Doesn't get there. Run down by an inside backer, Gary Plummer. But now the Raiders are running the clock. 6:15 and running as they're huddling at their leisure, getting it down as much as they can.
Raiders now can be very, very conservative because the punt by Ray Guy, and at least the Chargers are going to have 80 or 80-plus yards to drive for the winning score. About 60 yards for the winning field goal. I'd keep giving it to McCallum or throw to these wide receivers who have not been covered yet today.
30-second clock ticks down to 1, and then Hawkins gets the ball and works hard to stay in bounds as Hawkins is down to the 40-yard line. Looks like a first down for the Raiders, so they'll have 4 more downs to run the clock, which is down to 5:30 and ticking.
Bounced outside beautifully. Wayne Davis finally makes the stop. All that offense that the San Diego Chargers have produced in years past, with the exception of the opening game of the season this year, not really been in sync, not been in timing.
One interesting aspect of this Raider team, it's much younger. It seems to be the same people, but they've let go a lot of veteran players. There's 125 years less experience than there was a year ago. Less NFL experience. 125 years.
Al Davis mentioned that's one of the big problems on this football team, that no leader has jumped out, has emerged. And leadership on a football team is very, very important. Someone for the rest of the fellows to rally around.
A lot of people talked about Denver as being a Super Bowl team at the outset of the season. They've done nothing to discount that as they're off to a 4-0 start if they hold against the New England Patriots.
They play well in Denver too, don't they?
Well, Elway's really become everything that he was advertised to be. Wilson looks. Christensen catches the ball, and he's down to the 13-yard line.
Nobody touches him. 26-yard pickup. He's able to release off the line. No one alters his pattern whatsoever. Watch again. See, the guy really does nothing to hold him up. He's just kind of looking him straight in the face. 53 is the man in coverage, Mike Douglas. Hold him up. He just makes contact with him. Grab a hold of him. Throw him to the ground.
Raiders ready to run the ball. Here's McCallum up the middle, down to the 8-yard line. First down carry, he got 5. We would like to welcome those viewers that have just joined us. The Chargers and the Raiders football game is still in progress with the score. Los Angeles 14, San Diego 13. And stay with us. Immediately following football coverage, we will present Our House in its entirety. In addition, all the remaining NBC Network evening programs will also be seen over most of these stations, except for Pacific Time Zone stations, where the programs will be seen at the regular times. McCallum drives to the 6-yard line.
Jeff Dale, a good sticking tackle there to stop McCallum. But this is point-blank range now for Chris Barr.
Which would mean if he gets it, the San Diego Chargers would have to score a touchdown, and the clock is ticking. 2:40 to play in the game and running. Raiders 14, Chargers 13. Whole game turned late in the first half. San Diego had a 13-0 lead, and the ball was looking to go to the locker room. They threw it, tip ball was intercepted by Jerry Robinson seconds before halftime. The Raiders were in the end zone with a throw from Wilson to Dokie Williams. Then on the opening kickoff of the third quarter, Lionel James dropped the ball on his return. Raiders recovered, and quickly they were in again on a 40-yard touchdown pass from Wilson to Jesse Hester.
Raiders take a timeout with 2:16 left. They were letting as much of the clock run before the 30-second clock expired as possible. Good thinking.
Be sure to join us Saturday evening, October 18th, for the opening of the Fall Classic as NBC Sports proudly presents the 83rd World Series. Baseball's great moments were first televised on NBC in 1939, and the tradition continues as the National League champions host the American League champions in Game 1. So be sure to tune in at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Major League Baseball on Inside Look, followed by the excitement and special magic of Game 1. The World Series is home on NBC.
A touchdown by the Raiders, and this game is basically over because then the Chargers need a touchdown, an extra point, and a field goal to win. So the Raiders certainly want this play to be a good play, but they'll settle for the 3 points. They just don't want to take a chance to turn the ball over here. They've already had their share of turnovers on this particular afternoon, 5 to be exact.
Coach Coryell only can wish his team can get the ball back. You remember the last time the Raiders appeared to be in field goal range, and then they were thrown back on some terrific plays by Leslie O'Neal, who finally stripped the ball from Mark Wilson and recovered it, and the Raiders came away from a long drive with no points. Mark Wilson, 6'6", 205 pounds, with over 300 yards passing now. Last season he replaced Jim Plunkett, who was injured in the third game. The Raiders went 11-2 from then on. Wilson set 11 NCAA passing records at Brigham Young. Came into the league as the #1 draft choice and a deep thrower down his 7th year. Atlanta's tied up Tampa Bay, and they go to overtime on a field goal at the final gun. McCallum heading in. Stopped for the moment. Cut down at the 1-yard line. But it is a first down for the Raiders.
Good sweep. Excellent job by Hanna out in front. He cleans out Douglas. Dale makes the tackle just a yard short of the end zone. McCallum 13 for 57 yards now.
AT&T, the right choice. The Chargers trail the Bengals by 7 in the fourth quarter. Needing a big play, will they go to veteran superstar receivers like Charlie Joyner or Wes Chandler, or will they surprise the Bengals with the unexpected? What would you do?
This is a cover story taking shape for Time magazine, but late-breaking news stops the presses. Time puts AT&T Skynet digital service into action. Via satellite, a new cover story is transmitted instantly, accurately, and rolls off the presses in under 24 hours. Let us show you how AT&T digital services can help your business. AT&T, the right choice.
What did you decide? San Diego selects 5'6" Lionel James, who delivers a spectacular 60-yard touchdown that spurs the comeback victory. The Chargers made the right choice.
This was a day a lot of people were looking for the Chargers to put the knockout punch on the Raiders' season. The Raiders right now looking to close them out with an in-close touchdown.
Yeah, Don, it's come with just 2 plays, 2 series. At the end of the first half, beginning of the second half, the Chargers allowed the Raiders to get back in a football game. And then the Chargers have just gone to sleep since then. The wide receivers have been open all over the field as we thought when the game started. That would be a big factor. It has been. Dokie Williams has made an absolute shambles of the San Diego Charger defense.
I think a big development today, too, Trump, has been the play of Napoleon McCallum. I mean, his confidence level has to be way up.
Yeah, because the last time he carried the ball, he fumbled that ball up in Denver, cost the Raiders a game, and he was down on himself, but made a good account of his performance today.
Marcus Allen has been out the whole game with an ankle injury suffered a week ago. Now the Raiders with a 1-point lead, looking to put the closer on. Nail the lid on. Frank Hawkins doesn't get there as the Chargers come attacking him and the ball.
Chargers take a timeout. The Raiders are going to be very deliberate. And your defense should take timeouts.
So while there's a break in the action, we'll pause for this word. L.A. today, 1:54 to play in the game at the Coliseum as the Raiders come out of the huddle after trailing 13-0. They've come back, and they lead the game 14-13, and you think McCallum's going to get it here, you probably think right. McCallum. They want him to get in. He does not. And now the Raiders have it down to the 1-yard line with third goal coming up.
They take another timeout, the Chargers do. This has been an excellent drive. The Raiders took over with 7:13 on the clock. It's down inside of a minute and 50 now. When they had to drive the ball, they did drive the ball.
Tell you, whoever scores here, Trump, there's about 400 people lined up at the back of the end zone to take their picture. This looks like the Olympics, the number of press men down there.
Also looks like they're going to run to that corner of the end zone, right? Do they know something we don't?
Doesn't take that Gonzo long to get the shot.
No, it doesn't.
John Gonzalez. Esto eres amable, John. Gracias. 1:49 left to play.
Good day for Mark Wilson. The NFL. Last year, the combined records of the 4 teams, 43 and 35. That's the best that the NFL had to offer.
Third down for Fouts. A throw and a catch. Holohan takes it and breaks out across the 45-yard line out to the 47 as the Chargers quickly run up to the line of scrimmage. A 22-yard gain. Holohan, veteran tight end, lines up again. 1:10 to go. Fouts takes a look. Penalty markers are down. A throw and no catch. It'll be 2nd and 10 depending on the penalty call outcome.
Trying to get the ball to Joyner. Lester Hayes once again in coverage.
Fouts keeps looking at out patterns, but what's open is over the middle. That's where Wilson's gotten a lot of his yards down the stretch.
And I do think they have enough time left to start throwing the ball over the middle. Personal foul. I think this is a trip against the San Diego Chargers. So that's a major penalty.
San Diego has no timeouts. Todd Christensen's running out in the field to protest something.
We have illegal motion, number 18, offense, penalty decline. We have illegal use of the body, tripping, number 80, offense.
Thank you, Jerry.
First down.
Did you hear that? Thank you, Jerry. That was Lester Hayes.
Lester's something else, I'll tell you.
That's a strange way to audition, but he got it on, didn't he?
Actually, you watch him play, you think he's someone from the dark, evil forces, but he's really a great guy. He does play a rough game.
You're right.
Very pleasant guy, Lester Hayes. A lot of fun to be around. After the game, here's a pitch out now. It goes to Lionel James, and he's knocked down at the 44-yard line, and the Raiders keep him in bounds.
53 seconds and ticking. 2nd down and about 11. Plenty of time. No reason to panic.
Chargers need a score as Fouts downs the ball. That's perfectly legal. Well done by Fouts. He stops the clock, but he does bring up 3rd down and 12 for the Chargers with 42 seconds to play.
Actually, the down makes no difference, though, Don. It's a 2-down area. Even if they don't complete this one, they're going to go on 4th down, and you're still trying to save seconds. The Raiders protecting the outside, figuring that that's where the Chargers are going to throw it to get out of bounds, leaving the inside of the field open.
Fouts on 3rd and 12. Is it intercepted? I think it is. Van McElroy not done yet. A diving interception by Van McElroy. Dan Faust pounds a fist into the turf. And that will be it. If it goes as an interception, there's every indication it will. Raider fans throwing their seat cushions all over the Coliseum now. Must have been seat cushion day.
Who's out there without his helmet on? Mickey Marvin.
Zillion seat cushions in the air. Looks like the graduating class in Annapolis with Napoleon McCallum firing those hats up.
Well, the Raiders got 3 interceptions on the day, and that was the difference. Scored 14 points off of them. Killed the final drive by the Chargers. The Raiders will take over after allowing 9 sacks, turning the ball over 5 times. Jerry Markwright got knocked down. This is the second time the ball has bounced off a San Diego receiver and then intercepted by a Los Angeles
Raider.
Raider.
We have unnecessary roughness on both teams. After the play was over, it's first down Raiders.
It's first down Raiders, and it's history as a football game. The Raiders will go to the run, and that'll be it, and the Chargers will drop to 1-3. After that impressive opening win, the 50-point scored against Miami, it has come apart at San Diego, and now they go down to a 3rd consecutive loss. As Dan Fouts in the last 3 games has thrown 11 interceptions.
Last series of the first half by the Raiders, first series of the second half by the Raiders has been the difference.
And they down the ball, and that'll be it. The game will be history. And now it's time for the Budweiser Most Valuable Player Award, sponsored by Budweiser. Today's MVP is Dokie Williams from the LA Raiders. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVPs selected in today's games.
8 catches, 144 yards. Personal best for Dokie Williams.
And very close second in the balloting is quarterback Mark Wilson. So Tom Flores comes off the field a winner for the first time in '86, but surely not the last. Coach Coryell, a bitter disappointment, as they had it won, it would seem. It's certainly at the halftime. They were going to go in 13-0, and then it came apart. And so the Chargers failed to score again, having trouble in the second half, and it's over. For Bob Trumpy, this is Don Criqui. The Raiders win 17-13 at the Coliseum in Los Angeles.